It's time for Friday Night Live. Happy Friday, Law Nerds. And for the international Law Nerds, happy Saturday. Replay crew, love you. I keep messing with where my mic's going to be. Look, we're figuring out how I want the setup to go so I don't bump into it when I gesture wildly with my hands. Today has been a day. I'm going to tell you all about that in a minute. Tonight, we are covering some, weekly roundup from around the internet. Then we are covering all of today's news in the Gabby Petito case and what that means, what case closed means, and what I think will happen next, if anything. And then we're going to just wrap up Britney. We got through the FBI investigation the day of her court hearing, but we didn't get into everything else, and we didn't get into all of what her hearing means. So we're going to go through all of those minute orders and some of the Twitter feeds in our weekly roundup. We're going to talk about the Cardi B trial. It's going to a jury. We're going to have a verdict early next week. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk about it on Tuesday. We're going to talk about some copyright stuff going on around the internet and with the law tubes, because I know saying law tube is Rekieta Media's favorite thing ever. Nick Rekieta loves it when the lawyers on YouTube are referred to as LawTube. It is his favorite. If you happen to watch his channel, be like, LawTube has me here, because he loves it the most. And then I will briefly touch on what's going on with Josh Duggar and when I will be covering it, because there is not time. There is not time tonight. When we get into the Petito case, I will give the appropriate just reminders about how triggering that case can be. And I will tell you about why it is a bit triggering for me as we talk about it, because it's just, it really is just heartbreaking. We're going to talk about some lighter things before that. I am drinking something that's actually quite good and looks quite odd. But we've got some green kombucha going on tonight, because your girl is like, we are trying to rebuild the system and the immune system. And we'll talk about some life stuff, and then we'll get into it. You guys know how it is. We're late. It happens. It's been a long week. We have to talk about this week. I have to tell you about this week. I have to. We should just roll the intro. Tell me where you're coming in from, what you're drinking. And, I've got plenty of water. I've got more. Look, I've got more. I was centered earlier. I try to set, look, true facts. I try to center so you can see the paw nerds until they get their own camera. I've got my green booch. Look, it's January. We have to stay healthy. The greens help. I said we were going to roll the intro. It's time. Hey there. If we haven't met yet, I'm Emily D. Baker, the badass lawyer and everyone's favorite legal commentator. I'm the host of The Emily Show, and I break down the legal shit behind the news and pop culture stories we all want to talk about. I have been a licensed attorney for over 15 years, but this is not legal advice. I should warn you, I'm a big fan of the cursey words. This channel is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not fuckery. I am fascinated, nothing to see here, by the thought of almond tequila. That sounds incredible. There's an almond champagne that I love, but almond tequila sounds like it sounds like a win for me. What do we need to talk about this week? My 13-year-old, parents of teens. I'm just going to tell you, my 13-year-old and I have been going back and forth all week. I feel like I've failed as an adult. This is maybe a little overdramatic. He is a Star Wars prequel lovers, and I feel like I fundamentally don't understand how that happened or understand him, because he does not like the sequels, the Rey series, at all. At all. I love the Rey series. He thinks I am trash because I love the Rey series. He loves the prequels. How? How do you love the prequels? I think Revenge of the Sith is his favorite movie, and I wonder if I am just raising a Sith Lord. I don't know what's happening, but this has been going on all week with no resolve. And there can't be resolve because I am right, but he thinks that he is right. But we can agree that of the main series, we both love Return of the Jedi. However, I feel like Empire is the stronger movie, and this might have to be a COPO down the road, though my oldest will not cede to COPO. There is no chance that he is going to be like, oh yeah, they're right. He's going to be like, no, all y'all are wrong. All y'all are wrong. Nacho dip sounds amazing. Lynn said, "Did you watch Dr. Grande's video yesterday? I have had no time to watch anything. I've been reading court documents. He summed up the Britney Jamie Lynn situation in 3 words: Marsha, 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 and nailed it. It makes me very sad. I'm doing an I Have Thoughts episode for the Patreons. I in Patreon at lawnerdsunite.com. If you are there, you have access to the I Have Thoughts podcast. And the I Have Thoughts podcast is literally my thoughts on things that I cover and other things. So it's my faster reacts, my breakdowns. It is an audio only podcast, accessible only there. If you are a member here on YouTube, you get the members only chats before streams and the icons and things like that. So for the Patreon, I'll be doing an I Have Thoughts. The whole thing makes me sad. I am rooting for them to come together. I feel like these two sisters have been manipulated by their family and they both grew up in toxic environments, and all of it makes me sad. And they've both clearly had difficult experiences with each other. And it just, I don't know. I wonder how much this book was strategized to take the heat off of James Spears. I know others have pondered that as well. It just, I have thoughts. I have thoughts. We'll get to I have thoughts. Speaking of members, this is up in the member spaces, but for those of you that are in our our topper tiers, our Zoom call is tomorrow at 11 a.m. I can't wait to see all your shining faces. I can't wait to bring my shining face. It's part of why I'm not drinking tonight. And I can't wait to see everybody. We have lots of thoughts to talk about on our Zoom call tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central. So we do quarterly Zoom calls. If you are not, you know where to go join. There's a tier here on YouTube, though the Patreon tiers have all the stuff, including the I Have Thoughts stuff. So, Missy, there is nothing wrong with eating goldfish. I love eating goldfish. So Britney allowed the TikTok Toxic and Pony remix to be released. It's in iTunes. Britney, we stand. Skylar, this is the best nudes ever. I know it was on SoundCloud. It is such a killer remix. And I love this. I love that Britney's in charge. Like, I love that she has her life back. I love that. I love that. I love that remix. You know, we've talked about it on this channel. I love that remix. It's fantastic. Emily, my 15-year-old son has sent some British candy for you and the fam. Thank you. Can you review it? Should be with you in a week or so, but there's lots. Ooh, goody. Jennifer H. Yes, I will bring the boys in and we will do it. My youngest has been wanting to do a video of some kind. I am literally like reining him in to keep it. He just wants to be a YouTuber so bad. And I'm like, no, live your life. Live your best childhood. It's going to be great. So he's just ready. So anyway. Yes, you guys are like, who loves the prequels? Exactly. My son loves the prequels. I don't know. You all are right. The Foxy Project. How did I fail as a parent? How did you fail him so badly? I don't know. I've tried. He is just willful. I am just gutted. I am sorry. I feel like I have failed, but he loves those movies. Empire is the best, Heather Copeland says, and I love Empire. I like the sequels too. I know I have friends that don't like the sequels. I didn't mean to get us off topic on Star Wars, but we just had to. Buddhist Beer, when it comes time, will you cover the Ron Jeremy sexual assault trial? I totally forgot that was going on. When it goes to trial, I need to look at the facts again, and then I will decide. But I am not opposed to covering it. I had completely forgotten it was going on in light of everything else we have been covering. Samantha said, I just want to say you're an inspiration to me. Thank you, Samantha, or for me. I am an extremely dyslexic, so it's great to see another dyslexic being in a field where I was told a dyslexic wouldn't thrive. YouTube I thrive on. It was harder to thrive in a more traditional environment, but as I learned myself, I learned what to ask for. And I think technology has improved so much, even from when I was working at the DA's office, that there is so much you can do to assist yourself. And of course, my Erlang glasses. I actually should turn my computer screen down a little because my computer screen has been reflecting on my glasses and causing all kinds of mess. But now my computer's like, no, we're not going to let you do anything. So I'll turn that down in a second. Or I'll make the S word device do it, but I don't want to set all of yours off. So we're going to let that We're going to let that chill, but thank you for sharing that kind note. And it's one of the reasons I share the things that I have dealt with. I mean, not all, not all. Of them. We don't have time for all of them, but it's because I know I'm not unique or special or alone because of that. And I hope that it helps open conversation about it. Because again, you don't know what you don't know. And if we don't talk about it, how do you learn? And I always try to come from a place of learning and understanding because I think it's just a more powerful place to come from, right? Can we understand each other? Can we hear each other? Can we understand where people are coming from, what their motivations are, why they do things? I think so too. Um, Joy Daily Gaming said I agree with them, but I also respect your opinion. It's okay. It has become a family divide that I will take. We love a family divide. So Allison said, I think liking the prequels is a Gen Z thing, saying as an old Gen Z. It might be because I think his favorite Star Wars ever is the Clone Wars animated series, which I agree is like peak Star Wars. I should stop. You guys are like, Emily, we're here for the law. Yeah, I know. We'll get there. It's been a busy week. Jacqueline said 36-year-old single mom and current law student here. Love that. I love you and your channel. Quick question. Why can't I see or find join to become a member? The mods can probably help you do that. It depends on what device you are on. Apple devices will not do it unless you are on the web due to Apple's policies about paying for things within iOS. But lawnerdsunite.com should get you there too if you want to join on there for the podcast and not for the channel. So that should help. Will I cover Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? Yes, I will swing back to it. It has been a while, but yes, I will get back to it. It is constantly on my list, and there is constantly more happening. Constantly more happening. It's wild. Mags says, I love the prequels. Not a fan of Rey, but it's just a preference. It doesn't have to be right or wrong. It does at my house. It does at my house. No, it's become a fun banter at our house. So we absolutely love it. Sister Babylon said the prequels are more colorful and shinier. That is true. And the fight sequences are much, much bigger. It's true. It's true. It's true. We should do a quick weekly roundup. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. We might have a generational divide. Gen Z love the prequels. We might have a generational divide. Sarah said, love your hat. Thank you. It is my fax hat. Guess where it's from? Did you guess lawnerdshop.com? That's where it's from. I love this hat too. I wear it all the time. Allegedly, Angela said, stop shaming the prequel lovers. I'm only shaming my kid for loving the prequels. So only that. Dawn Shoot said, just realized I have on the same nail color. Yay. We love it. All right. I meant to move to weekly roundup. We're going to do that. And guess what? Guess what's happening tonight? We're bringing back a very special COPO in honor of the sadly late, gone too soon Meatloaf. I'm just, God, the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022 is just coming in hot. But I asked over on Instagram and then for favorite Meatloaf songs, and then I took the top 4. So we will definitely get into that. Don't blow up the chat now. We will get into the top 4. I gave the top 4. I gave the top 4 from Instagram for later for tonight's COPO. GMAX trial predictions we will talk about in Q&A. Tech, will you just throw that in questions so I remember to get to that for Q&A? Because I will talk about that in Q&A if I don't get to it in weekly roundup. All right, we need to do the things. We need to do the things. It's time. It's time to do the weekly roundup. Weekly roundup. It's time. With the weekly roundup, there are a few things. First, we need to talk about Tasha K and Cardi B. I am fascinated by this trial. Mm-hmm. And a number of you sent me this particular Twitter feed on my DMs. So Molly Brown and everyone else who sent it, because hers is up at the top. Molly Brown and everyone else who sent it, thank you so much for helping me find feeds that are covering this trial. I appreciate you so much. Let us talk about what is going on in the Cardi B case. And some of this is from Twitter. Emily, are you ready to share your screen? No, but Emily, you share your screen single every single show. Yes. Yes, we do. These Twitter promoted tweets are killing me. Like you're killing me, Smalls. Can we just can we mute the ad? How do we remute the ad? Can we mute the ad? All right. From Dennis Byron from Hip Hop Inquirer LLC over on the Twitters. Both sides have rested their case. It goes to the jury on Monday. I am supposing that in the way this is worded, that means that both sides have not done their closing arguments yet. And so on Monday, there will be closing arguments and that the evidence is closed. Some other things happened at trial today. A courtroom onlooker said first and last trial ever in the world where married husband and wife both call each other liars under oath. So something went down in court, which is very, very confusing to me. With regard to Tasha K and her husband, she was on the stand today. Sarah Matz is the attorney for Cardi B. You testified that you had a lawyer friend review the cease and desist letter that was sent to you, and she said that it was a fake. And answer, yes. What is your lawyer friend's name? Tasha K. I prefer not to say. Judge, answer the question. Tasha K. I don't know her name. It's in my phone. Okay. Trial update on cross-examination by Sarah Matz. Tasha K. was asked, isn't it a fact that you testified in your deposition that you are not a journalist? Answer, yes. So when you told your subscribers you were a journalist, you were lying? Answer, yes. Wow. So I will just refer you to this Twitter account, Mr. Dennis Byron. I don't know much. I'm glad they are doing coverage. It seems that they are in court. It seems that they have a YouTube channel. So that is a resource. I am glad there are some. I am sure there are others. I know Camille's Corner has been talking about it as well. So those are channels that are covering this. Natalie Lawyer Chick and I talked about it, but there are a few other articles on this that we need to talk about because some other stuff has come up. Did I close my tabs? Yes, I did. Way to go, Emily. We're getting gold stars today. We're getting gold stars today. It's just that's what's happening. Let's talk about what was said a little in court this week and the fact that if this jury doesn't decide soon, they're not going to have enough jurors to decide because they had to dismiss a juror yesterday or the day before. I think it was Thursday that they had to dismiss a juror. So those of you that have been following along my quick coverage of this, a juror came in and was non-symptomatic for the vid-19, shared that their adult son that lived in the basement had the vid. They were not symptomatic. They were not required to quarantine. They didn't have a whole lot of contact. All the jurors said they were fine. That juror since became symptomatic and then did not return to court and was told not to return to court. The court gave options of either delaying the trial for 2 to 3 weeks for that person to clear their symptoms. The concern was that if they did that, other jurors could potentially be exposed and or catch and or be ill with the vid-19, and this trial could be drawn out for another few months until the jury could come back, or to excuse that juror and just finish up. Remember, they have 2 alternates, so they will have enough jurors now to complete the case if nothing else happens over the weekend. So fingers crossed for the safety and health and well-being of this jury, because my, oh my, do I want to know how they decide. And if closing arguments go quickly in the morning, do we get a Monday afternoon verdict? We could. If we do, know that we will be covering it on Coffee and Cursey Words on Tuesday. Coffee and Cursey Words is generally set aside for me for Tuesday for motions for new trial. That is my intent. But if there is a verdict, we'll cover it. Coming from reporting on Law 360, there was some more discussion about the testimony of Tasha K, testimony that I found stunning and Wild. So Tasha K seems to be, based on reporting, contradicting herself on the stand. Early in trial, Tasha K testified she did not get any corroborating information or documentation from Star Marie Jones to back up the claims that Cardi B, in fact, had herpes. On Thursday, Tasha K testified that Star Marie Jones had shown her some conversations that she had with other Cardi B acquaintances to verify her story. And Tasha K said, I'm not changing my story. I just misunderstood. The jury gets to decide if they believe her or not. They are the finder of fact. Um, they were talking about the fact that the controversy with Cardi B, in fact, caused Tasha K to lose about 13,000 subscribers in September of 2018 because of the controversy regarding Cardi B. Now, I have questions if she lost subscribers because they were like, I don't like what you're covering, or they didn't like the way she was covering it. But she also went on to say that the defamation case against her is trending. It's it's trending in quotes. Those were her words on the stand in federal court. The defamation case against her is trending. It's not. It's not though. Cardi B covering expenses and costs for the families who lost their lives in the apartment fires in the Bronx. That is what's really trending about Cardi B right now if you Google it. But okay. But okay. And she said that's what caused the video view to spike. The video with the Star Marie Jones interview has about 5 million views on it. She also said that Tasha K on the stand also said that Cardi B made herself look guilty by responding to the allegations. Mhm. She responded. Therefore, it must be true. That's not when somebody responds and says, this is fake, stop saying it. The assumption, I don't know how you get to the assumption being that, oh, that must mean it's true. I don't understand that. Um, Tasha K went on to say that she and Cardi B had been going back and forth with one another for about 3 years, calling each other names, and that the 3 cease and desist letters, according to Tasha K, she thought were fake, which is when she testified that she had a lawyer friend look at the letter before using it to, quote, "wipe her ass," indirect quotes. So that happened on the stand yesterday. So they also played videos in court where Tasha K said that Cardi B is a pathological fucking liar because she denied using drugs. They also played the video where Tasha K makes the uh lurid makes the allegations about the debasing act with the beer bottle. If you want to find out more about that, I have a video covering all of the allegations that talks about that. But she found the video on a adult content site and just thought the person looked like Cardi B and said that it was Cardi B. Um Another video that was played in court had Tasha K saying, I don't like to interview motherfucking celebrities. It's more fun talking about their dirt. So that's going to go and give context to this jury. And then in another video played before the jury, there are statements of Tasha K saying, I want to break this bitch. I've been given full permission from my legal team to go the fuck in. All the judge got to do is Google Cardi B's goddamn image. That's not how defamation works, though. The judge isn't going to just Google Cardi B and be like, oh, that's not defamation. The judge has been having quite a lot of issues with Tasha K's lawyers as well, which is going to be very, very interesting. So we will see how this all plays out. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to point out? I think that's it with that. We will I think we will see what happens very, very quickly with this. I think a jury's not going to have a hard time. I think that they will make a decision, and that's going to be it. The question is, how much money are they going to say this is worth? I don't know. They had to shut down trial for a whole day due to evidentiary issues because the defense didn't seem to have their evidence all together in accordance with pretrial orders. Um, don't do that. Don't, don't do that. If you're in trial, you need to have your shit together for the court. You know, the reason they do pretrial litigation ahead of trial is so evidence can be ready for trial. If things need to be redacted, it can be done. I will continue moving on. We need to talk about LawTube. And again, remember, LawTuber Nick Rekieta prefers LawTube to be referred to as LawTube. Nick Rekieta is well, I should swoop. Should I swoop? Do we get a swoop? Does Rekieta get a swoop? We'll give Nick Nack Paddywhack. Give Rekieta a swoop. Some of you might watch Rekieta's channel, some of you may not. Some of you may have seen me streaming with him covering the Rittenhouse trial. Nick Rekieta is a LawTube streamer who streams and live reacts to trials, has a spicier stream in the evening that is not for everyone. It depends on how you like your jokes. If you like your jokes in a way that might offend you, the evening stream is for you. If you don't, the evening stream is not for you. But either way, Nick Rekieta is a very heavily pro First Amendment YouTuber and will say whatever he would like to say. That said, you can choose to watch or you can choose to not to. I imagine there are law nerds here with very polarized feelings on that. But that is not our point. Our point is damn the man, save the empire. We're going to go to Rekieta's Twitter real quick and talk about what is going on between Nick Rekieta and Law and Crime. Because again, it doesn't, on this channel, right is right. Well, right is right, wrong is wrong. No, Emily, legality and morality do not always mesh. But we are going to talk about particularly copyright cases that relate to YouTube because it is so fundamentally important. And standing up for the rights of copyright is something that is imperative on creators. And that's not just standing up for copyrights. That is standing up for fair use. That is standing up for reporter privilege. That is standing up for saying, no, I don't give a fuck that you're a company. What you're not going to do is come in here and boss me around and try to bully me into doing something, bully me into telling you something, bully me into stop doing something, bully me into doing something that is against the law. Well, not against the law in a criminal way, but in contrast to what the law says you can do. So Nick Rekieta has decided that he will not be bullied. He will not be silenced. He will not back down. What he will do is take the fight directly to Law and Crime Network. RIP any future collaborations, Law and Crime. But when you're wrong, and you should have enough lawyers around to know that just because you're salty doesn't mean you're right. Look, I think Law and Crime is salty AF over the Rittenhouse trial. The Rittenhouse streams on Rekieta's channel were getting 80 to 100,000 viewers. And there was a day, it seems, that Law and Crime shut the feed so that Rekieta's feed would get cut. And YouTube at one point cut one of his feeds. And I wonder if Law and Crime complaint. This is speculation, but I wonder if Law and Crime tried to flag the feed. These court feeds are generally not copyrighted. They are open use because they are split between multiple networks, because the court's like, you can put one set of cameras in this courtroom and y'all can have your separate feeds, but there are one set of cameras, so y'all have to share the feeds. So no one owns the copyright on the feed. This is different than the Ethan Klein case with Triller, where Triller's complaining over their feed over a pay-per-view fight. They own that feed. They own the copyright in that feed. So let us go through this Twitter thread real quick. We stand against trying to silence creators. If creators are doing shit they can't do, they shouldn't do that shit. We just talked about that case. What you can't do is defame people. What you can do is comment on content and use it for fair use. And they're different. It's not as if like restream feeds you can't do. If Rekieta's channel was just restreaming the law and crime feed, you can't do that. But transformative use is giving commentary, often to the point where even the times that I was in on his stream giving commentary, people are like, "Hey, could you all shut the fuck up? We're trying to watch the feed." And Rekieta or one of the other commentators would say, "If you want to go watch the feed without commentary, go to Law and Crime, go to the news network, go here. They're just streaming the trial. We are talking often over the trial to give commentary on certain parts, stopping when parts are critical, giving commentary when the court's in break, and giving a lot of insight, I think, and experience, because I've never seen a stream that has had so many diverse lawyers from so many walks of life and practice fields breaking down a trial and talking about it in real time. It is unique and it pulled more viewers. And I personally think Law and Crime is salty. So this Twitter thread, I can go to view, and this is why we pay for YouTube or Twitter Blue. It's not to get on their good side so that maybe they'll verify me, but I'm not above that. But it's so I can read things in thread. This is literally the reason. This is literally the reason. So let's see. So the other day, Law and Crime Network sent me a threatening cease and desist letter accusing me of copyright infringement. If you would like to see his feelings on that, unfiltered, uncensored, and uncut, you can go watch that on his channel. I'm sure you will find it. In this letter, they represented that the, quote, majority of Law and Crime content that I used in my feed are not part of a pool. This appears to be untrue. So this is a clip. This is it looks like a screenshot from the cease and desist. It is increasingly important that you also understand that the majority of the Law and Crime's live feeds that RL, the YouTube channel has used in its infringing content are privately owned by Law News. Law News with a Z is what they decided to do for their incorporation. I have questions, but and are not part of a pool. Part of a pool means, again, one or two cameras, multiple streams from multiple networks. Because the court's like, what I don't need is 17 networks in here with their own cameras, just all use the same feeds. And there's generally court orders saying that these feeds are public feeds. They go to the news media, et cetera, because it is an open and public trial. So it is substituting anyone being able to walk in and sit and watch. We will continue on. And any individual and or entity that seeks to use such privately owned content must first obtain explicit permission from Law News Inc. This distinction must be understood by you. However, it seems that the distinction of what is fair use and transformative use is not understood, perhaps by Law and Crime. Rekieta goes on and says, this is from the judge's order in the Chandler Halderson trial, which is the trial I believe he's covering now. This order states that only 3 video cameras can be in the courtroom at one time and encourages media companies to cooperate. Both Law and Crime and Channel 3000 were broadcasting identical video feeds. Looks like a pool. So they likely don't own all of the feed, the copyright in the feed, because the media room has limited space. No more than 3 video cameras may be used at one time. The media is encouraged to cooperate in the video process, as no additional cameras, still, or video will be permitted within the courtroom. The Rittenhouse trial was streamed by Court TV as shown in this press release. Law and Crime is using the same feed as Court TV and everyone else. It appears to be pooling with Court TV in this case because Court TV installed their cameras, its cameras, and everyone else streamed from there. The Kim Potter trial is the worst offender. The attached order in the Kim Potter shows that not only was it clearly a pool production, but it specifically disclaims any copyright for any media outlet. So this is the order from the Kim Potter trial. Neither the pool producer nor any media outlet will hold a copyright or any other intellectual property right for any of the raw footage from cameras or the single transmission feed that is produced that would prevent any other media outlet or entity from using, broadcasting, or sharing the footage or any other free use thereof. I am very triggered by the not straight highlighting. I'm just going to let you know. I can't imagine that I would have ever studied with Rekieta in law school because the wobbly lines would have made me insane. I was very precise and color coded with my highlighting. And now I have an iPad, Rekieta, an iPad. And so you can use programs and it just makes your highlighting straight. It just, instead of, looking like the ocean. Just saying, all shade intended. The current case I am watching is that of Theodore Edgecombe. Law and Crime has misrepresented something else about this order as well, but it's not relevant here. Here you can clearly see that this is a pooled feed. This is from the court audio/video camera. There shall be only one audio video camera permitted in the courtroom on behalf of all media, which will be stationary at a location designated by the court. The media will be allowed to transmit a pooled live audiovisual feed from the courtroom. The equipment must remain silent at all times while court is in session. All audio-video equipment allowed and then it cuts off. It goes on to say Rittenhouse, Potter, Edgecombe, and Halderson represent the overwhelming majority, if not the entirety, of video I've used from Law and Crime. Law and Crime appears to have misrepresented their ownership of these feeds. Law and Crime is angry that commentary by a panel of lawyers outperforms a stationary camera. I will not be bullied by a multi-million-dollar company misrepresenting facts and law. Fair use is real, but what may not actually be real is any claim of actual ownership that Law and Crime has asserted. I will be discussing my counsel's response to Law and Crime tonight at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join me. So that'll be after I am done here. So if you want to see that response, I am sure there will be lots of name calling involved, as there generally is. And he will probably also tell Law and Crime to either fuck off or to go fuck themselves. But the thing is, for a copyright claim, you have to first prove that you are the copyright owner. And it's something that we didn't cover deeply in the Triller Ethan Klein copyright case because it's their feed from a pay-per-view. So it's not deeply in question whether or not they own the copyright. And every time I've covered it, I've said, we're not even going to talk about whether or not they own the copyright because they were producing and streaming the pay-per-view. So I don't have a question in my mind that, oh, are you the copyright owner or not? The other questions I have is whether, all the other questions. But the first step is, do you own the copyright? You can't say you have to cease and desist or we will sue you if they don't own the copyright. And if they do try to sue Rekieta, because anyone can sue anyone for anything, is it then in bad faith? And could that then be sanctionable because they know they're not the copyright owner? Maybe. Either way, trying to silence alternative media, and I really see a lot of the law tubers as alternative media because we are giving different perspective to things that are in the public domain and giving expertise and commentary and sometimes comedy and sometimes, I don't know, insight and education. We are alternative media to what you get on the standard networks where you get 3 minutes of a lawyer going, well, I think it's this, or well, I think it's that. You get people who are not beholden to corporate entities that can tell you how they feel and as vulgarly or not as they want to. They can tell you what their positions are. They can tell you what their biases are and can give you other information, which is why it's just so important to keep talking about fair use. In other fair use news, I had a text conversation with Dustin Daly regarding his copyright issue over on Twitter, because it seems that Twitter has yeeted his entire Twitter for sharing a TikTok that has music in it. And this, again, this kind of bad faith bullshit just pisses me off because TikTok has an agreement with the recording and the music industry and most of the music distributors to allow music to be used and as part of their platform and to be able to build their platform. Advertisers want to be on TikTok. TikTok can then give money for streaming rights to the music that's used. But when you share it out of that platform, it's kind of disingenuous to be like, oh, well, now that it goes from TikTok to Twitter, it's infringing. I mean, it's not like it's stripped and re uploaded, it is just linked. So his account on Twitter right now is permanently suspended due to sharing a TikTok. And I think that that is kind of fucking stupid. So I hope that he will get his Twitter back. I think that intellectual property is very important. You should be able to protect the things that you create, but there are boundaries to how much you can protect it. So, that's where that is. Hayden Harris, no, don't misinformation in the chat. Nick loves the term law tube. Loves, loves, loves. It's his favorite. It's his favorite. Like smiling is my favorite. Loves it. So that is kind of our weekly roundup. I will be keeping an eye, especially on the copyright cases that matter to the creator space, because companies using their power to wrongly shut people down is not okay. Now, when it's proper, it's proper. So anyway, we should just move on. We should just move on. So we should just. Before we move on though, I have something to share with you guys. So before we move on, before we move all the way on, it is time to thank our sponsor for this stream. A huge thank you to today's sponsor, NordVPN. NordVPN is a virtual private network that allows you to use the internet securely and anonymously because it encrypts your data and then routes it through a remote server. And you can pick that remote server in over 61 countries. That includes the US if you want your VPN to still be located within the States. It works on up to 6 devices, so you can add it on everything from your phone and a tablet to a laptop to your main computer, which is really, really helpful as we are getting back to traveling out and around. So you are not on Wi-Fi at Starbucks or at a hotel. You can actually make sure that you are secure by using a private network. And the thing I love about Nord is that they keep no logs and they have double data encryption. So your internet activity is, private. What you're doing is not tracked. And that is going to also reduce those ads that follow you around the internet. Every time I forget to turn on my VPN, and it's normally because I've turned it off to access a court website, and then I forget to turn it back on, those ads always find me. You absolutely want to check out Nord. You know what I also love? They have a really easy plugin on Google Chrome so you can see that you're being protected as you're browsing the web. So if you are ready to check out Nord, you can do so with no worries because they have an incredible 30-day money-back guarantee. That's right, risk-free for 30 days. And you can get a 2-year plan plus an additional month and a huge discount by going to nordvpn.com/Emily D. Baker. Using my code not only makes sure that you get that discount, but also lets Nord know that you are coming from my content. So go to nordvpn.com/Emily D. Baker for a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month with a huge discount. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. You can also check out the link down in the description. Thank you, Nord, for sponsoring today's stream. Yay, Nord, for loving freedom on the internet and freedom to say cursey words in my content. We love Nord. Okay, before we move on to other heavier topics, I just want to let you know, yes, there is a motion for new trial in the Duggar case. Yes, We knew this was coming because we covered the motion for more time and we knew it was getting filed on the 19th. The 19th was also the day Britney was in court. It is a pretty extensive motion. There's some law in it that I want to look at, and I also want to see what the government's response is. So I will, if the government respond, well, I'm hoping the government responds Monday, but that might be a bit fast. And I will cover kind of a summary of the new trial motion, and I will talk about the Ghislaine Maxwell new trial motion as well on Tuesday. We're just going to do a motions for new trial stream. But when the government responds, we will also talk about that. I saw a number of questions today on different social medias asking why sentencing goes over so long. This is part of why sentencing goes over so long. There, just like there's pre-trial motions, there are post-trial motions. Unless someone's acquitted, and then it's like, bye, nothing left to do here. You're released, leave. But when someone is convicted, there are post-trial motions, there are motions to set up appeals, and then there are interviews and things that happen before sentencing to get sentencing reports. So the Duggar new trial motion has I don't think it's anything staggering or shocking. It's more of a standard new trial motion, but all of these things have to be preserved for appeal. It is standard practice when somebody gets convicted that there is generally going to be a motion for new trial, especially if somebody has the money to afford the lawyers to do the things. So, not that I am cynical about the role that money and wealth play in our justice system, but yeah, I'm cynical about that. So, that's where we are with Duggar. It is my intent, unless anything was my intent to cover it more tonight, but it is my intent to get to the new trial, both of those new trial motions on Tuesday, because when we're talking about new trial motion, we can just get our head into the new trial space and be like, what do those motions mean? What normally happens? I think the new trial motion with regard to the Maxwell case probably has a much stronger probability of success. That one's not. That's not looking good. I'm not happy about that situation, but we will talk about that more during coffee and cursey words. For now, we are going to talk about what seems to be the conclusion of the Gabby Petito homicide investigation. We knew that the homicide investigation was ongoing. We knew that there were holding charges issued against Brian Laundrie. I'm going to swoop and give a brief road so far for any of you that didn't follow this case or aren't familiar with it. And after I swoop, I will give a brief disclaimer. So, for those of you that are new here, you are welcome to put a 1 down in the chat for those of you that are new here. I am a former criminal prosecutor, so I definitely bring some of that experience in, but I also have lost, unfortunately, too many people in any one is too many, but too many people in my life to homicide. So this case does touch a little hard for me. So sometimes people who are tuned into kind of me and my regular content can see that. And that's why this case touches really, really heavy on me, because circumstances are not super dissimilar. And it just weighs on me. And it is just, relational violence is so difficult to talk about. It is so sad. It affects so many. And this, at the heart of it, I think, is a relational violence case, because Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie were in a romantic relationship, and it seems that that became a volatile relationship, and Brian Laundrie killed Gabby Petito. And the FBI is now closing that investigation. So for those that didn't follow, Gabby Petito went missing in August, was not reported missing until early in September. She is was a social media personality, was sharing a van life adventure with her fiance, Brian Laundrie. There was a stop in Moab. There is an investigation that has happened due to that stop. I have not gone through that entire investigation, but I will, and tell you my thoughts on it. I just have not had a chance yet. It is a substantial report, but it seems that from the report that they determined, and this is what I determined from watching the video, and the video is hard to watch, based on what the information the officers had, they had determined in that circumstance that Gabby was the aggressor towards Brian Laundrie. He had marks on him, and that she could have been arrested. I think And I will have to go through the report. It was my perception that they thought they were helping by maybe not arresting her, though maybe if they had gotten her away from Brian Laundrie, they could have gotten deeper into the heart of what was going on in that relationship and why she was kind of pushed to the end. So, with regard to that investigation from Moab police, I will go through that investigation document now that it's been open to the public and talk about it. So, with that, she was a missing person for quite a while. There was video from another van life YouTuber that helped the FBI find where she was located. Her remains were identified, and it was determined that she died by homicide, which means at the hand of another. So with that, we move forward. I believe they also found, and I need to just look at my notes real quick at the day that that was done. There's quite a lot, and I have other videos on this. There's quite a lot in this timeline that was very, very difficult and very odd. Brian Laundrie went missing. He came back to Florida. She wasn't there. There was so much. And so if you want that full timeline breakdown, it's in my other videos. When they finally came back with the autopsy from Gabby Petito, the autopsy findings were released and it was a homicide by strangulation. So manual strangulation, hands, not an item. Then Brian Laundrie's remains were found, and then they released his cause of death being a suicide at one's own hand. And they didn't release a ton of information at that time, but they did release that there were some possessions found with him, including a notebook. But it also seemed that based on the way that his remains were and the way his skull was, that the gunshot wound was the cause of death with regard to the suicide. And with that, it was interesting to learn today that a weapon was found, which means his family and likely Gabby Petito's family would have known that there was a weapon involved. I wonder if the Laundrie parents knew whether or not a weapon was missing from their home. So let's get into the FBI's statement from today, and then we will get into the rest of the information here and talk a little bit about what comes next. For all of you that are newer viewers to my channel, I will do a whole, well, I always say this, but I will do a whole Q&A after I cover this topic and the Britney stuff, so we can just talk about it all together, and then we will answer all the topics together, because otherwise I will not get to the next topic. So this is a statement from the FBI in Denver. They were the ones that were leading this case, and they said from the press release this afternoon, yesterday, the family of Gabrielle Petito met with the FBI at the Tampa field office as the investigation will be closed in the near future. All logical investigative steps have been concluded in this case, said FBI Denver Division Special Agent in charge, Michael Schneider. Make this a little bit bigger. There we go. The investigation did not identify any other individuals other than Brian Laundrie directly involved in the tragic death of Gabby Petito. The FBI's primary focus throughout the investigation was to bring justice to Gabby and her family. The public's role in helping us in this endeavor was invaluable as the investigation was covered in the media around the world. On behalf of the FBI, I want to express my deepest appreciation. Did you hear me almost say appreciation? What is happening? That my deepest appreciation to the public for the thousands of tips that were provided during the investigation, and to our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners for their work throughout the investigation. The FBI opened its investigation into the disappearance of Miss Petito on September 12th, 2021, upon receiving reports from Gabby's family that Miss Petito was missing. The FBI, working with federal, state, and local officials, organized and searched a remote area within the Grand Teton National Park and the Bridger Teton National Forest. On September 19th, a search team located the remains of Miss Petito at the Spread Creek dispersed camping area near where she and Brian Laundrie had been seen together. Miss Petito was found approximately 3 weeks after her last known communication. The Teton County Coroner's Office subsequently concluded that Miss Petito died of blunt force injuries to the head and neck with manual strangulation. While law enforcement investigated all logical leads, the investigation quickly focused on the last person believed to see her alive, Mr. Laundrie. Yeah, he also used her debit card like shortly after this, when he drove the van that they were both in back to Florida. So, there's some clues there that indicate that it was him. The following is a timeline of the investigation. Oh, this will probably be a little bit more concise than my timeline. It's fair. The FBI investigation revealed that between August 30th and September 1st, Mr. Laundrie had used Ms. Petito's debit card without authorization on his drive back to Florida from Wyoming. None of us were shocked when her debit card was used with her PIN number that it was her fiance that knew that information. And that began all of the, not just the speculation, but the frustration of, okay, so arrest him now. And they're like, no, we need to do a thorough investigation needs to be done. After Ms. Petito's death, there were several text messages identified between Mr. Laundrie's telephone and Ms. Petito's telephone. The timing and content of these messages are indicative of Mr. Laundrie attempting to deceive law enforcement by giving the impression that Ms. Petito was still alive. Isn't that interesting? I imagine, and this is new information, I imagine that this means that when the FBI recovered the van, that they might have recovered Gabby Petito's phone. And I didn't know that there were deceptive text messages back and forth. But I'm not surprised to learn that Brian Laundrie was trying to deceive law enforcement after murdering Gabby Petito. On September 15th, 2021, Mr. Laundrie's Ford Mustang was recovered from the T. Marby Colton Jr. Memorial Reserve at Macahatchee Creek Park in Northport, Florida. On September 17th, Mr. Laundrie's parents reported him missing shortly after law enforcement conducted a welfare check at their residence. Welfare check. We'd like to see if he's okay and if he's there. And then they're like, oh no, he's not. We should report him missing. On September 18th, law enforcement officials commenced an extensive search of the park where Mr. Laundrie's vehicle was parked and did not locate Mr. Laundrie. The area where Mr. Laundrie's remains were later found was part of this search area, but the area was submerged due to recent flooding at the time of the initial search, which means he was probably deceased in that after September 15th and perhaps not long after September 15th, if not on September 15th. On September 22nd, 2021, the U.S. District Court for the District of Wyoming issued a federal arrest warrant for Mr. Laundrie. The warrant was issued pursuant to a federal grand jury indictment for the unauthorized use of her debit card. On October 7th, 2021, after law enforcement made a request through Laundrie family attorney Steve Bertolino, who has been a name most following this case now know because he has been like texting reporters throughout this case to make comments. The Laundries provided personal effects to law enforcement, which were used to assist in the search of the Macahatchee Creek Environmental Park. On October 20th, 2021, after water had receded from the area of the park, and the park was reopened, Mr. Bertolino notified law enforcement that Mr. Laundrie's parents intended to return to the park to search for Mr. Laundrie. This is where everybody gets very squeamy about what happened next. I know there are a lot of conspiracy theories. I am just following what the FBI has determined and also what my logical brain as a DA tells me. But this is the part that gets odd. Law enforcement officers were present when Mr. Laundrie's parents located an item in the park, later determined to belong to Mr. Laundrie. I think it is pure coincidence with the water receding. I also think that they know his possessions better than law enforcement does, so they are going to be easier. It's going to be easier for them to say, this is them. This is something that might have been his, because they are more familiar with their son. So on October 20th, we got to that part. Upon further search of the area, investigators found human remains, later confirmed to be Mr. Laundrie, along with a backpack, notebook, and a revolver. The revolver is new information. A review of the notebook revealed written statements by Mr. Laundrie claiming responsibility for Miss Petito's death. I'm presuming there is a note or a a long, extensive detailing of what happened before he took his life with the revolver that they found in that area. On November 23rd, 2021, the medical examiner in Sarasota, Florida, released its report on the manner and cause of death of Mr. Laundrie. The report concluded Mr. Laundrie died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So that is the totality of what the FBI had to say. Some of the critical things with this is that they say the investigation will be closed in the near future. So this is closed as to the homicide. They leave a door here where they say that the investigation did not identify any other individuals directly involved in the tragic death. I think I still have questions as to whether the FBI believes that there could have been accomplices after the fact, being his parents, potentially others. I wonder if that, because that language is specific and says that there were no other individuals directly involved in the tragic death. We know he was in the Tetons with Gabby Petito. His parents were in Florida, but it doesn't say involved. It says directly involved. And some of this language is very precise. So I wonder if there is something to come next. But also, part of me thinks that if the FBI was inclined to do that, they would have done that either in tandem with this or in close time to this, unless the FBI is thinking that they are going to let his parents believe that they are concluding this and then will do whatever. It will be interesting to see what happens with his parents in the immediate near future. If we get like 3 weeks out, I'm going to be more skeptical, but I want to see what happens in the next little bit here, because this is a critical distinction that they say directly involved. They do not say involved. They could say involved. They didn't. They said directly involved. And they said it will be closed in the near future. This homicide, for the purposes of who murdered Gabby Petito, is closed. Brian Laundrie killed Gabby Petito. Many have suspected that since the beginning. That doesn't mean that there can't be individuals responsible if they were accomplices after the fact. Will that happen? I don't know. Could that happen? Yes, but those are not homicide charges. Those are charges of aiding and abetting after the fact. Also, I very much want to know, did the Petito family have a family firearm? Because it seems pretty quick that Brian had gone with his family for Labor Day at the beginning of September. He had gone away with them right over Labor Day weekend. And then shortly thereafter is, driving to the Macahachie Creek. Did he go find a gun? I mean, I don't know what Florida's gun laws are. I don't know how easy it is to go and buy a weapon. I think there should be some time period where you need to wait to do that. Did he take one from his family home? Is this gun registered to someone? Who's it registered to? These are things law enforcement knows that we do not know. So did the Laundries report him missing and tell law enforcement that a gun was also missing? Or did they leave that bit out? I have a lot of questions about what went on there and what was told to law enforcement. So there are still questions here for me. Do I question whether or not Brian Petito's parents planted this stuff? It's so unlikely. Do I think that he is still alive and hiding somewhere? It's so unlikely. And a lot of you in the chat are saying his parents had said the gun was missing. I want to go back and look at when that information came out. So I assume because of the timing that was probably a family gun, but did they tell law enforcement? And when did they tell law enforcement? Those are some of the questions I have. So there are still some questions for me. Let's go to the attorney's statements from the families. I will just remind the chat, rage is a natural response, but we try to keep it classy. As we get into some of these statements, you will understand more what I mean. But lawyers are gonna make the statements that they're going to make, and we can have all of our feelings about them, but we are not going to disparage and harass people in our chat. I appreciate you. Thank you. I will go look. You guys are saying that Bertolino said it, and I will go look for when that was. I'm curious if Bertolino said it, when he said it, and when he said they told law enforcement, because he might have said that they told law enforcement well later. So I'm very interested to see when that comes up. I have an eyelash that is killing just killing me. As we like, I would like to be able to read. Sometimes I would like to stream without glasses, but I also would like to be able to read. And, they're so much darker when I have my hat on. All right. Let us go to the international crew is like, why are y'all talking about how easy it is to get guns? Well, Florida. It's Florida. Which is either a pro or a con, depending on if you want to live in Florida. And in Florida, I imagine it would be easy to get guns because gators. So, you got to keep things safe. Let us get into this. From News Nation now, they have a timeline of the disappearance. They have some of a background. The FBI's timeline for our purposes were very clear. I will say that I did the podcast about dental records, talked to Dr. B, who is a dental specialist, about dental records. Dental records are such a good identifier. So there are some that are like, but it's just dental records. Dental records are a very reliable identifier. Let's see. Where is this? This is not the right update. Emily, why is this the wrong link? Hold on. Wrong attorney statement. Where is today's link? There we go. Sorry, y'all. We're professionals here. Also from News Nation, the correct link covering today's story. So let us just Brian Laundrie claimed responsibility for Gabby Petito's death through written statements discovered in a notebook that investigators found near Laundrie's remains, the FBI confirmed on Friday. I wonder if they will ever release that statement. I don't know if they will. We will see. The Denver FBI on Friday issued what the agency referred to as its final investigative update, which that's the thing, though. That can mean two things. Final investigative update can mean that there is no further investigation because they are prepared to make further arrests, but it can also refer to the final investigative update in the homicide investigation, because a homicide investigation is different than a potential accessory investigation or a potential accessory a potential accessory case. So I'm just like, where, I don't know. The wording is very specific in all of this, and I am not ruling out that can happen, but I am not saying that will happen. Because again, final investigative can mean final for this, or it can mean like, we are done here. Please don't read into it. But then I hope that we see more about the notebook. Maybe we won't. Maybe we will. Prior to the FBI's announcement, the family of Gabby Petito said they believed the then unreleased FBI report on the homicide investigation into her death leaves no doubt that Brian Laundrie, her boyfriend and a person of interest in the investigation of her death, killed her. Well, I'm not surprised, because that there was not. Sometimes there is an easier route to take. The statement from the Petito family lawyer. Isn't there a Y in lawyer? Am I crazy? Don't last names get capitalized? Am I reading that wrong? Chat, am I reading that wrong? Am I accurate? Lawyer has a Y, right? Anyway, I rarely see typos, so when I do, I get a little like, "Oh, I'm one of those people now. I'm one of those people that can see typos now." I miss them all the time. Even in things I put up on the internet, you will see them and you'll be like, "I see it." Gabby's family would like to thank the Federal Bureau of Investigation, specifically the Wyoming, Denver, New York, and Tampa offices, all of their task force members, and their assisting agencies. Gabby's family would like to thank the FBI's Victim Services Department for all they have done for them. Victim Services has been there for support from the earliest stages of this investigation and helped their entire family navigate through the worst moments of their lives. We truly appreciate the FBI's diligent and painstaking efforts in this extremely complicated case. I appreciate that they said it was extremely complicated. The searches made it complicated. The facts don't make it as complicated. The quality and quantity of the facts and information collected by the FBI leave no doubt that Brian Laundrie murdered Gabby. And that's from the Petito's family lawyer. We know that the Petito family met with the FBI Thursday. Victim services, most offices, district attorneys, prosecutorial offices, some investigative agencies have victim services. They are tremendous helps. And there are times that stuff came into victim services before we had even filed cases. And it was always hard to help navigate the pre-filing stages with families that didn't know what was coming next because no one's really prepared for crime to upend their entire lives in that way. And it is stunning and shocking, and victim services goes a long way to help with that. So the article continues saying this comes as the parents of Brian Laundrie are trying to reclaim items found near his body, including a notebook that is still in FBI custody, his family lawyer said earlier this month. hmm I understand why they want the items back, but the investigation has to be finished for the items to go back to Brian Laundrie's family, which means the fact that they haven't gotten them yet, and the fact that they haven't gotten them yet will if we see that these things have all been released, then I will have other types of questions. But for now, they haven't gotten them. These are still things that are evidence. But if this is a closed investigation, when the investigation is closed, these things are no longer evidence and they will go back to Brian Laundrie's family. Stephen Bertolino, controversial lawyer, loud lawyer, chatty lawyer of the Laundrie family, told News Nation's Brian Enton, I want to know how he told them. What is it in a text? Told News Nation's Brian Enton that this was part of the formal proceedings to administer Laundrie's estate and confirmed the notebook was part of the request. Gabby and Brian are no longer with their families, and this tragedy has caused enormous emotional pain and suffering to all who loved either or both of them. I think, okay, I think that's an understatement. Bernardino said in a statement Friday, and I'm trying not to be snarky, but also, this is a homicide, so someone caused this. Um, and that is just what the facts are. We can only hope that with today's closure of the case, they said soon to be closure. I understand why he used those words. I said it too in my titles, that the case is closed. They said soon to be closed. He said closure of the case, each family can begin to heal and move forward and find peace in and with the memories of their children. May Gabby and Brian both rest in peace. The Petito family had previously filed to obtain Gabby Petito's belongings that were in the Laundrie family home or in FBI custody. We truly appreciate the FBI's diligent and painstaking efforts in this extremely complicated case. We went through their statement. Laundrie was at the center of a nationwide search after Petito vanished. The FBI never previously connected him to Petito's death beyond calling him a person of interest. That's true. They never called him a suspect. However, the coroner did say exactly what they felt. The coroner said that this was sadly a relational violence or domestic violence case. And the coroner said it in a answer to a question during the press conference, and it spoke volumes. The coroner was like, "Well, it's a strangulation case, and he used her debit card afterwards. What would you like me to say? It is a domestic violence case." So the coroner connected them. The FBI called it a homicide investigation. That was the ruling. But they did not connect them. We knew how the coroner felt, though. We did not know how the FBI felt about it. The FBI has now said that basically the only person of interest and the only suspect was Brian Laundrie. Um, let's see. Do they go on to add anything else? They do not. Just a little more timeline, and those are in my other videos. So, with regards to this, there is some very precise wording here. I may be reading into it, I may not. I think it leaves the door open. We will see what happens with regard to any future actions. And just because the FBI's investigation is closed, and I want to be clear on this is the FBI's homicide investigation into the murder of Gabby Petito. That does not mean that local law enforcement might not have an investigation going on. That does not mean that there could not be an investigation with regard to potential obstruction of justice, potential aiding and abetting after the fact. These are all potentials based on behaviors that would have happened after the murder. So, could something more come? Maybe. Do I look at this and say, yes, I see it. I can see that something more might come? No, I don't. So we'll give it a little bit of time and see. What's interesting to me is the case with regard to the debit card that he was indicted on has not been closed out yet. And I am keeping an eye on seeing whether that closes out as well. So they say they are closing this case. We will see what happens in the next few days. It might be nothing. And I know that that will be tremendously disappointing to a lot of people. I don't know enough to know what the Laundries did or did not say to police, what the Laundries did or did not do. I know what the speculations are. I know how like my emotions feel, but I don't have enough information to say one way or the other. So we will see. Thank you. I don't know why I said thank you, but I'm like, thank you. That's just we'll see. We're just it's just such a sad case. And I hope that the answers of what was in the notebook give closure to Gabby Petito's family because there's healing, but it's not a complete healing. But hopefully the closure will let them be like, our questions have been answered. Because they're never going to know more. Hopefully the family knows exactly what was in the notebook, so they know. We will see if the notebook and more from it comes out, or if this is the only statement law enforcement is given. I don't know if it would serve any purpose other than assuaging the curiosity of all of us as to, but what was said and how was it said. Also, if it gives more detail, it might not be appropriate for that information to be released to the public and to allow that to remain private with Gabby Petito's family. So, as much as I want to know too, I can also understand that he he took responsibility for her killing. The FBI has made that clear, and we might not get any more detail than that. And that might be for the privacy of Gabby Petito as well. And that's that though we want to know, that's sometimes not ours to know. If Gabby Petito's family chooses to share that, um, then they might share that down the road. We'll see. So with that, this whole case just makes me sad. But I also wanted to cover it because I know there's a lot of questions and we will get to questions. We're going to move on to something else that's making me sad. Let's just like be a real, just like this evening. And though I am thrilled that Britney Spears is free, the constant battling that is going to continue to happen in this conservatorship makes me somewhat angry and somewhat sad. So that's where we're at with that. I have all the feelings about the Britney Spears conservatorship, and I have all the feelings. I just, as we talk about what happened in court, I'm not going to address more Jamie Lynn Spears stuff today. So y'all just know we're not there today. Um we might come back to it. We might. Not today. I'm going to do an I have thoughts about it. If there's more that needs to come back to when I finish the call her daddy, we might. But today is the day to talk about what happened in court, to talk about what's been shared by the amazing attorneys over at Brittany's Law Army, and to go through all of these minute orders and see what is said. So as I'm preparing and organizing all of my documents, um, I'm just, well, now we're just giving exposition. Let us go to Brittany Law Army's feed first, and then we will go to all the minute orders. How does that sound? Does that sound like a plan? It sounds like a plan. How has it already been an hour and 20 minutes, y'all? 2 hours goes so fast now. Like, once we broke the 3 hour, like almost 4 hour barrier, now I'm like, why did I ever think 2 hours was enough time? I talk so much. Let's talk about Brittany. It's time to talk about Britney. Britney's conservatorship was in court. I can't say Britney was in court. Britney's conservatorship was in court on January 19th to deal with a number of matters on calendar. Did all of those matters get dealt with? No. Did more shit get put over? Yes. And while I could do a very thorough road so far, I think it's going to be better to go through all the minute orders and then talk about what each thing is, because the 12th accounting of it all is still haunting my dreams. And with the 12th accounting of it all haunting my dreams, I have numerous videos on the Britney playlist where I break those things down. And I have audio only episodes on the Emily Show podcast where I break those down. We have been talking about this since Sam Ingham got off his ass and said, hey, why are we paying Lou Taylor's lawyer's fees? That seems like you've pushed me too far. I must object. You know how bad it is when Sam Ingham is like, I think I have to object now. Like, we've gotten ridiculous. Well, maybe it's because nobody objected before. Also, I can't look at this Twitter feed anymore because this sandwich from Egg Slut is making me hungry. And that is it looks delicious and I cannot. Also, you know, when I go back to the next time I go back to LA, I might make the dreaded drive to downtown LA to do that. I might be influenced. It's the reason that there are some channels I can't watch. Like, there are times I enjoy like a mukbang channel, but the thing is I will turn it on, especially as Nikocado Avocado and Ethan Klein have been going back and forth about an interview that was going to happen and is not going to happen. But every time I watch someone eating like Taco Bell, I'm like, I want Taco Bell. I want Taco Bell. It's why I need television that doesn't have commercials, because I'm like, yeah, I do need a Kit Kat bar. Give me a break. I do need a break. I am way too susceptible to advertising, and so it's very hard for me to watch. It is very hard for me to watch people who have food content, because I'm like, I do need Taco Bell. I need that. It hurts my stomach all the time, but I need it. They changed their nacho cheese. Wait, I'm gonna be in Vegas. There's an Egg Slut in Vegas. Well, that is a better plan. Thank you. I can't even pronounce that. Zutif 321, you have made my night. Thank you. Because I bet it'll be easier to get to in Vegas. Everything's easier to get to in Vegas. So anyway, I susceptible. So I'm gonna drink my green juice and pretend. Mhm. Also, when I'm in LA, I'm gonna have to go to. You guys are like, it's in the Cosmo. The Cosmo is easy to get to, and it's near the largest Louis Vuitton in North America. Why do I know that? Because I'm ridiculous. Going to Egg Slut when I'm in Vegas. I'm gonna post pictures. Very excited. And the Cosmo also has the Hallsteins with the ridiculous milkshake meals. Oh my god, they're so good. Okay. 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 We're gonna just You guys are like, when is Vegas? I'll tell you when I'm traveling. I get to see Sean Cannell when I'm out there, amongst other individuals. So Emily has a problem with the Vuitton. I don't have a problem with the Vuitton. My wallet has a problem with the Vuitton. I have a problem saying no. All right, let's talk about Britney in court and not my ridiculous reward yourself with purses habit that started when I was a grumpy district attorney. I'm like, obviously, all of life's problems can be solved with a luxury handbag. Clearly, I've been much more restrained I've been much more restrained lately. Um, that might end soon, but we'll talk about that at we'll talk about that at another time. Britney Law Army says at the outset, we want you to know that Judge Penny explicitly stated that today that the conservatorship has been terminated. We knew this. There was speculation. I don't know why. Some of the petitions addressed today were filed prior to the termination and therefore refer to Britney as the conservatee. Don't let it confuse you. We know. But I love Britney Law Army being so conscientious. Penny separated the petitions into 3 groups: items to be handled today, items that have been trailing along for some time. The 12th, accounting. 3 newly filed petitions. Items trailing along include 3 petitions filed for Ingham for his fees, Loeb and Loeb's fee petition, Holland and Knight's fee petition. Ugh. We need $1.3 million. Oh. Geraldine Wiles' fee petition and Montgomery's petition for compensation. Ingham began by arguing that the fee petition for Ingham, Loeb and Loeb, and Holland and Knight are intertwined with his objections to Spears's new attorney's fee petitions, and that there is a real potential for criminal misconduct on the part of Jamie Spears. Sam Ingham. All of that was going on your watch. I got some questions. You're welcome to come talk about it with me. I would love to have a chat. And it wouldn't be a hostile chat either. I would just ask questions. But this was happening on your watch. There's real potential for criminal misconduct on the part of Jamie Spears. No shit. People have been speculating wildly about it for years. Ask more questions. Sam Ingham, it's your job. Your job is not to play nice necessarily with yeeted Spears. Your job is to represent Britney Spears. You don't get to come in here and be like, oh, it looks like there might be criminal misconduct. Shut the fuck up. Did you see what her new lawyer did? He's only been her lawyer since July. Angry. And he was making like $500,000 a year on this case. It's not as if he wasn't compensated for his time handsomely. Breathe, Emily, breathe. We're very early into this. Rosengart said that the TriStar Discovery issue will be going back on the calendar for another court date. Yeah, they're not cooperating at all. If we have time, I will get to the snarky lawyer letter between Rosengart and the attorneys for TriStar, and they're just like, and Rosengart's like, answer simple questions. And the attorneys from TriStar seem to be saying, no, we're not gonna. Rosengart requested an evidentiary hearing on the accounting. Yay! Send it to a trial. I want to see. Rosengart said that Jamie Spears was reading Britney Spears' therapy notes despite his prior attorney warning him that he has no right to those documents, which actually, like, I have questions. Did Vivin Crew know that he was still doing it though? And at what point are they obligated to tell the court, we have advised our client that he is not allowed to read Britney's therapy notes? Because then the court and Jody Montgomery would have been like, how the fuck does he have access to the therapy notes? He's not entitled to those. At which point, the fact that he was mirroring her iPad would have come up, which, by the way, every time Jamie Lynn Spears is like, well, Britney didn't text me back. Well, maybe it's because all of those messages got deleted before she even saw them because someone else had her iCloud. Maybe. So, why didn't Vivin Crew ever bring that to the court's attention? If they told him that, why not? Why not? Okay. Rosengart wants to fold the accounting and fee petitions into one evidentiary hearing. That will not just be a hearing, that will be days and days and days of evidence. Weil made a verbal motion to strike any statements by Rosengart today as without personal knowledge and asked the court to limit his statements to only those he has personal knowledge of. Your Honor, make him stop talking. He's implicating everyone. Your Honor, we told I think the this is Weil, the attorney who was part of the team when he didn't have the right to read the therapy notes. So I think Weil's like, he doesn't know that. You can't say that in court. Stop implicating us of things. I didn't heart all of these. Sorry, Britney Law Army. I love them all. Viv seemed to have accepted the inevitable. Good. But Your Honor, he's a stranger. Let Britney's daddy be in charge. Britney's daddy loves her. He loves her as much as he loves cooking, cruising, and chaos, Your Honor. So Viv seemed to have accepted the inevitable and didn't put up a fight. Instead, she agreed that the parties needed to get into discovery and take depositions. Good job, Viv. Weingarten complained. He whined, perhaps. Weingarten whined that he received 27 media inquiries last night about Rosengart's recently filed objections before he got his copy in the mail. I made that joke earlier. The media is welcome to, contact me. I have comments. Weingart, quote, all of Rosengart's objections are nonsense, demonstrably false, or taken out of context. Okay. Weingarten accused Rosengart of leaking sealed information to the press and then made a motion to unseal the entire case file. Numerous people around the interwebs have pointed out that Britney said, and I don't remember which date Britney said it on, but they had threatened to embarrass her. Making a motion to unseal the entire case file is just inappropriate. It has medical information that is no one's goddamn business. And if Britney does have medical needs, which she's allowed to have, it doesn't mean it rose to the level of a conservatorship, but it also doesn't mean it's everybody's business. It also doesn't mean that we see you now, Yeeted Spears. I think many have seen you for a long time, but we see you and we see the threats in the legal filings of, well, if you cooperate with me, I'll cooperate with you. And if you don't cooperate with me, then I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to run up bills and we see the threats. We see the tit for tat. We see the gaslighting of it all. We see it. And we hear Britney when she said they would threaten me and not let her be with her kids. We see it. So just like, oh, well, I'm not getting my way, unseal the whole file. No, and it shouldn't be. Rosengart, I'm compelled to respond to the lies told by Weingarten. He knows he's lying. I have thoughts on why this all went down, and I'll get to those in a second. If I keep interrupting myself, if I keep sidebarring myself, we'll never get through this. Rosengart, Weingarten didn't say anything in his speech. I wonder what else was in the speech. The transcripts for this, we will do a dramatic reading of the transcripts for this, but we won't have Viv. Weingarten might get the Viv voice this time. Your Honor, I get paid $1,200 an hour, and I believe that Rosengart's objections are nonsense, demonstrably false, and taken out of context. Maybe we have a voice for Weingarten. I feel like we just found it. We found our way from Viv to Weingarten. Rosengart. Weingarten didn't. We did that. Rosengart. Weingarten should be ashamed. The notion that I planted the surveillance story is preposterous. He should be admonished, which is the court telling him to Your Honor, tell him to shut the fuck up with this stupidness. With all due respect, that's what that is. So with that, by the time that the New York Times had leaked documents, I don't think that Rosengart had the full case file. Rosengart made numerous comments in court about the fact that he hadn't even gotten the entire case file from Ingham yet. So I don't think there's any way he could have leaked that to the New York Times. I'm just saying. All right. Corinne says, hate to say it, but it sounds nothing like him. That's okay. I don't care if it actually sounds like him. We might have to go with what his attitude sounds like in my head. Cause I know my voice, my Viv voice sounds nothing like Viv. It sounds like Viv's inner angry child. So when I hear it in my head, that's how I hear it in my head. Like I hear Viv like, oh my God, Your Honor, Brittany Study loves her. Why are you letting them just come in here and do whatever they want? Like that's how I hear her in my head. And Weingarten has started to feel more like a, well, we'll get to it when we get to the next one. We don't have a voice for Rosengart yet, probably because the voice of a prosecutor just feels like my voice. Rosengart, these are facts. It's like a thing with prosecutors. We like facts. These are facts. My office retained former FBI agent who worked with Mueller. Agent S interviewed the whistleblower Alex for hours and deemed him credible, as well as reviewed corroborating evidence for his allegations of surveillance emails, I believe. Rosengart, Weingarten should withdraw his false statements or he should be admonished. The order, I wonder what the court said in response. I can't wait till we get this transcript. The order appointing Loeb and Loeb as associated counsel was never entered. You know why? You know why the order appointing Loeb and Loeb like 2 or 3 years ago was never entered? Sam Ingham. Sam Ingham. It's the same reason when Bessemer Trust got appointed, the order never got signed because he never provided the order to the court. You are getting paid $500,000 a year. Like the minimum is getting orders to the court and getting them signed. Like that is the bare minimum to do your job. How in the fuck? This is Loeb and Loeb is his associated counsel. Ingham asked for Loeb and Loeb as litigation counsel to combat Holland and Knight. And then you never just get them appointed. And then it's not just Ingham. Sorry, I've interrupting myself. It's not just on Ingham. The court approved payments more than once for Loeb and Loeb without ever looking to see if there was an order. How? How have payments been approved for Loeb and Loeb when there's never been an order entered? How did that happen? It's preposterous. Is no one paying attention? I shouldn't be surprised. I am constantly surprised by the level of what the fuckness that occurs in this case. And this is how did we get here? But when we look back at the beginning of the conservatorship and go, oh, there was never a declaration. There was never this. There was never that. Of course there wasn't. And associated counsel was getting paid without the order ever being entered. Because I guarantee you what happened is that the court said Loeb and Loeb is appointed counsel to enter the order. And Ingham just never did it. Ingham just never did it. And Loeb and Loeb has gotten paid. Okay. All of you are like, are we just at DEFCON red? My anger level's at DEFCON red. I feel like it's okay. I feel like it's fuckery. I've got a new phone case today. It's very shiny. I'm very excited about it. We've got some new Case-to-Fi cases to show you guys next month. I'm so excited to share them. We got a sneak peek. Okay, DEFCON what the fuckery. We got to get it. We got to get it ready, and we got to give it a quick disclaimer for anyone who is flash sensitive. It's flashy, but it's only flashy till the music ends, and when the music ends, you are clear. So I'm giving you a warning that we are going to play that, and then as you hear the music, it will flash, and then it will be done. So that is my flash sensitive disclaimer. And I do it out loud so people know so that they can look away or close their eyes, and I give them enough time. And when I give a warning, it gives me enough time to pull up the lights so I can go to red as we go to red. And right now we are going to DEFCON red. It might be my favorite bumper. I love it so much. We are now operating at DEFCON red. All right. Let us continue. The motion for sealing the termination plan was granted. I'm not surprised. It's appropriate. The termination plan is kind of the next steps. The next steps of who's in charge of what for Britney, who the health professionals are, who the financial professionals are, all of that. So that is the ceiling of that plan's granted. It's appropriate. Again, it's appropriate because it's going to contain private medical information. And I think Britney's been exposed enough. And if she wants to share that, she should, but she shouldn't be forced to. Gold withdrew his petition for substituted judgment, but requested an order granting Zabel authority to transfer the remaining assets in the conservatorship to Britney and her representative. So the petition for substituted judgment was kind of trumped by the termination plan. Zabel was the temporary conservator of the estate. This is important because this means that Britney's assets will be under the control of a person of her choosing or herself. If Britney wants to go to the ATM and buy herself some Skechers, she can. If Britney wants to go shopping, she can. Britney is going to have control of her money. I imagine there will also be a business manager of her choosing because of the level of estate and the level of celebrity that she is, that they will be paying her bills and doing those things. That is not unusual for not only celebrities, but also the wealthy. Also, like, I might need to hook me up on that. You've heard my stories about letting my car tags expire by accident because I am ADHD and I forget to pay things. If I had someone to just pay them, it might be nice. Just be brilliant. But then I worry I'd end up like that movie. Is it Uptown Girl? The movie. Oh, why am I blanking on the actress from Clueless, who I love? Anyway, she had somebody paying her bills. She was a celebrity's kid. They stole her money. She ran out of the country. There's the song about sheets of Egyptian cotton. I am Brittany Murphy. We've worked our way back around. And the chat, I'm sure, is going to explode in a second on the live delay and go, Brittany Murphy, Brittany Murphy, Brittany Murphy, Brittany Murphy, Brittany Murphy. Anyway, I think the movie's Uptown Girl. Sheets of Egyptian cotton. Those of you who've seen the movie know what I mean. The rest of you who are like, you sound insane. Uptown Girls, Brittany Murphy. Thank you. Oh, Law Nerds, you're the best. Thank you for getting me when my brain wanders. It's such a good movie. All right. Motion for sealing was granted. Petition withdrawn. Nelson requested reserve funds to be held in the conservatorship pending resolution of the pending fee petitions. Here's what that means. We don't want all of the money to go to Britney. And the reason we don't want all of the money to go to Britney is because we want to make sure our fee petitions get paid. We don't want to have to fight for the money for our fee petitions. No, that's not. No. Rosengart. Mr. Nelson is not entitled to a reserve. Rosengart. The conservatorship has been terminated. Britney should be allowed to control her money. She has no intent to dissipate her money. She's not going to go blow like $60 million. What she's going to do is spend money on lawyers to ask where the fuck's the rest of it. That's what she's going to do. Weingarten. Your Honor, Zabel should retain conservatorship financials until the next hearing. Rosengart. No reserve is appropriate. Zabel needs to be able to turn funds over to Britney. Give her her money. At the beginning of the hearing, Zabel introduced himself as former temporary conservator of the state. Jody Montgomery introduced herself as former temporary conservator of the person. The fireworks have concluded. Back in action, July 27th. R versus W, JPS versus BJS. Literally, she's burning down the house. Burning down the house. So this is just going to be Rosengart versus Weingarten. On the agenda, everyone's fee petitions. Jody's petition granted. Jody's lawyer fee petition granted. Rosie is filing objections to the rest. Rosengart. Every single one. Good, Rosengart. Get it. Just be like, I object. Stop it. Weingarten, Yeated Spears' counsel said, and this must have been in order with the releasing Britney's money. Let's remember why this conservatorship was created. Britney Spears was irresponsible with her money, implying that the conservatorship had nothing to do with her safety or mental health to begin with. It was all about money. Judge Penny responded, let's not go there. Yeah, Judge Penny should have responded much stronger to that, but let's not go there is appropriate because did Weingarten just say that the reason that this conservatorship started was because they were worried that Britney was being irresponsible with her money? So they did what? Took all of her civil liberties, locked her in a house or a hotel, and forced her to perform while they all profited off of it. Because it seems basically what the what is. So you put her on a 5150 hold. You don't get the appropriate notice. You say that she doesn't need notice because of the 5150 hold, and then make a play for her money. Mm-hmm. 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 Outcome, everyone involved in this, every single person isn't going anywhere. Now that the conservatorship is terminated, you want to get paid and run away. It's not happening. You are under the microscope, and Rosengart is about to light it up. Get her that money back. I wish I could heart this. You have to heart it like I wish I could heart this more. Yes. I love that they translate these into Spanish as well. I love this too. We overheard him on the phone, Weingarten, as we were exiting the courtroom. Fairly certain he's referencing Rosengart. It was intense in the courtroom today, and Weingarten is salty. Quote, I'm still going to fuck with his head when I send him that letter. Weingarten to an anonymous person on the phone. Judge Penny has ordered that no reserve will be held from Britney's funds for future payments and fees still being debated. This means Britney's money will finally be transferred to her within 7 days. Finally, let her go shoe shopping and dye her hair a deeper shade of purple. Judge Penny implied today that when all discovery has been completed, this case will be sent to another department for trial. That could be within the year. The trial is that evidentiary hearing. I've got thoughts on this too. After talking about today, it's pretty clear to us that by intertwining the petition for fees with his objections of misconduct by James Spears, Rosengart is building a criminal conspiracy between Jamie Ingham and others. Possibly a RICO case. And you know what? You know what gets you in there? What gets you into the Fed's investigation is the illegal recording. So Alex Valslov, the whistleblower, is going to turn the tide on all of this because he has provided the concrete evidence that allows a foot in the door. And once you have a foot in the door, it's going to make it much easier to proceed on that federal investigation. And the best way to get a foot in the door with the feds is be like, we have solid proof and lots of it. Illegal wiretapping of a celebrity and witnesses. Take our case. So I think that that's going to be very important. Britney Law Army said, if you will recall, when she testified in June, Britney said her team threatened her that it would be more embarrassing for you if the judge makes public the evidence we have against you. That's exactly what Jamie Spears' attorney is trying to do now. Yesterday. Oh, this is from January 20th. Yesterday was the unexpected heavyweight sensation of 2022. We believed the convo would be around the last accounting prior to the conservatorship termination. Instead, like the boss that he is, Rosengart owned the narrative and set out his full-scale war plans. Tonight, Britney Law Army will be discussing on the YouTubes. Due to technical difficulties and general debauchery, our video upload has been delayed. Just go live, Britney Law Army. You can come here and go live. I will handle the technical. I want to hear all the tea. Our team is diligently working to rectify the situation. Upon success, you will be the first to know. So if you don't follow Britney Law Army, go follow them. We will see when their video goes up on the YouTubes, but they are always welcome to come chat here. So my thoughts. First, Rosengart's a prosecutor. I know a few things for certain about most former prosecutors. He can pick his words carefully. Much easier to do in court. I've gotten very and I'm not as good as that as I used to be, because now I just can be free and get much more heated and just be like, fuck this. But when I was in court, I was very much better at like guarding my words and being very much being well chosen with my words. So I wonder if part of Rosengart going in so hard on the other attorneys was not part of a strategy to let Judge Penny know exactly what this would look like if it goes to an extended evidentiary trial, and remind Judge Penny that she wants no part of that. So sending it out to a long cause court means that another judge gets to take a look at that. Why is that a good thing? It matters tremendously having another judge look at this because Judge Penny um, has been a part of this for a substantial amount of time. And having Judge Penny look at the 12th Amendment or the 12th amended complaint might put the judge in an awkward position to be like, "Ooh, I should have done more." Having a fresh set of eyes allows a judge to really go in and look at this with a fresh take. So, encouraging Judge Penny to send this out to another courtroom is a very good thing for Britney and her team to get some fresh eyes. It can't just be like, "But Your Honor, like, you've never had a problem with this before," because it puts the judge in a really tough spot to, like, admit that some of this shouldn't have been going on. And this is just dealing with the 12th accounting. It hasn't been approved yet, but I think having another judge see it gives them a better chance to go all the way in, because another judge doesn't give a fuck about protecting anyone. Another judge should be like, "I would like to know the facts because shit seems suspicious. Let's try to get to the evidence and get to the facts." And I will be very interested in seeing who they end up with. I will be very interested in seeing who this gets sent out to. So we might end up with a full scale evidentiary trial. That is going to be, there are dates set in March and July. Let's pull up these minute orders. But part of strategy is knowing what the judge's temperament's like. If a judge does not like a lot of fighting, but also doesn't always step in and settle it down, because some judges, once you start, will cut you off immediately, and you have no runway to get going. But there are some judges who get I don't want to say intimidated, but will just let it go and be like, counsels are an advocate. They need to have their say. Let's let them run. Sometimes they get intimidated by counsel and won't step in and shut it down. And so you can push a judge out of their comfort zone if a judge doesn't like a confrontational courtroom by not playing nice and being like, "Weingarten's a liar, liar." And the judge is going to be like, get them all out of my courtroom. I don't want to deal with it. And that's not a bad strategy. So, problem is, judges are protected by judicial immunity. So what will come of that? I don't know. What's going to come from all those emails that Rosengarten team's going over is going to be much more interesting. All right, let us go through. These are in no particular order. These are the minute orders that came out of the court. And let us go forward. So let's see. Is everybody on Court Connect? Nope. Weingarten's in person. Bronstein is in person. Rosengart's in person. His associate McCurdy's in person. Everyone else is on Court Connect. All of the other, there's a lot of lawyers. And let's see. James P. Spears is on Court Connect. Jody Montgomery. Viv. Who else? Anyone else we need to call out? I don't. Mom Spears was not on court call, though she had a motion on calendar too. But I don't see Lynn Spears. I only see James Spears. I see her attorneys, but not her. All right. The matter is called for hearing. The court takes testimony. The court takes Fight Club. The court and counsel confer on the record regarding the various petitions on the calendar this date. The parties agree on the record this date. The revised proposed order granting the petition to terminate the conservatorship can be signed and entered by the court. This proposed order is the order that they were fighting over and there were objections to because of the way Yeated Spears was wording it. And there were a few motions back and forth about the wording of that order. So the revised proposed order, I believe, came from Rosengart to cut out some of the language that they did not like that Yeated Spears had put in there, kind of absolving himself a little bit. And those videos are on the Britney playlist. The court finds and orders that no reserve will be required for future payments of fees. I wonder if the court is sitting there going, because maybe you all will end up paying her back. Why should she have to put a reserve on her money? Let her go invest in NFTs and Bitcoin. But only if her business managers want. The court reminds the parties that to the extent To the extent you wreck the mic like a vandal. Just kidding. To the extent that special notice has been requested, parties are to give special notice. That means the way that the other parties are notified. Otherwise, you just email it. The court continues the matter to the date indicated below and sets a file by date for objections to the petition for allowance of fees to be filed on November 1st, 2021 by Yasha Bronstian to be no later than February 28th, 2022. So we've got more filings coming in February from the allowance for fees that was filed on November 1st. The court finds that additional evidence by supplemental declaration or additional documentation is required to grant the matter on calendar this date based upon the reading of the moving papers and consideration of presented evidence. The petition allowance of fees filed by Yasha Bronstian on November 1st, 2021 is continued till Wednesday, March 16th, 2022 at 1:30. So I think March 16th, I'm just write it down. I think March 16th is the next court date. And then there will be more. So the Bronstian fee petition is going over to the 16th. Can we just turn that off? All right. Next one. Make it big. Same. The court takes testimony. The court and counsel confer. The petition to terminate is the proposed order. The revised proposed order is signed. The court excuse me. The court orders that John Zabel, as temporary conservator of the estate, is authorized and directed to transfer any and all conservatorship assets to Britney Spears. Yay. 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 All conservatorship assets to Britney Spears or her designated representative at her business manager, Miller Kaplan, within 7 days. So we know that she's kept Miller Kaplan as a business manager and all her assets are getting transferred fully out, all of them, so she can direct them as she wants. If she wants to sell her house and buy a new house, she can. If she wants to buy, some Skechers, she can. If she wants to go spend $500 on sushi, she can. You go, Brit. Why did I say sushi? Now I'm going to want sushi and it's too late to go get sushi. Well, the court finds and orders that no reserve will be required for future payments and fees. Yay. The court reminds the parties that give special notice. If not, email's fine. The court continues the matter to date indicated below and sets a file by for objections no later than June 27th. The court finds that additional evidence is needed. The petition allowance of fees by Sam Ingham, filed on March 26th, is continued until Wednesday, July 27th, 2022. When I say this will never end. So they have to file by June 27th. The petition for allowance of fees by Ingham will be heard in July. I imagine that's when the others are going over till as well. This is the petition for allowance of fees filed by James P. Spears. The top part of the minute order is the same. And then they're adding. So the minute orders are growing. Like these are the previous orders, and then these are the lower orders. For the allowance of fees filed by James P. Spears for Weingarten. The petition was filed on December 15th, 2021. It's continued till Wednesday, July 27th at 1:30 p.m. Next is the substituted judgment filed on November 12th by John Zabel. That's been withdrawn, and the court allows it to be withdrawn. Things are being transferred. The petition is denied without prejudice, but it was withdrawn. So, okay. I don't know why the court would say it's withdrawn and then deny it. Like, just withdraw it, then don't rule on it. It's a weird way to do it because then it makes the record look weird. Here's my preference. Because then when you're looking at the record, you're like, well, if it was withdrawn, why is there a ruling? If it's withdrawn, there's literally nothing to rule on because it was withdrawn. You can't rule on something that doesn't exist. I'm just saying. This is for the allowance of fees filed on March 26th by James P. Spears. I wonder if this is a duplicate. Yeah, this goes over till July 27th. And there were like 11 minute orders in the court file. So some of them might be duplicates. Is this a triplicate? This is for allowance of fees. Let's see if there's anything different in this one. Nope. March 26th, continue till July 27th. Okay, great. Allowance of fees filed on March 26th by Sam Ingham. Why are there so many duplicates? Stop charging me for duplicate documents because you can't preview them. You have to buy them before you preview them. I should have looked. I think Noted Your Honor put them up on Twitter. I should have looked before. This is for the accounting conservatorship guardianship filed on August 6th, 2020. 2020. 2020 is when the 12th accounting was filed. For fuck's sake. I'm glad though. You know what? I'm glad. I'm glad it wasn't done. I'm glad there were objections. I'm glad they didn't just pay, Lou. Well, they did pay. They would have to claw back all of Lou Taylor's lawyer's fees and the $300,000 increase to TriStar and all this other shit. I'm glad that it didn't all get approved. Let's see. The court finds that additional evidence is needed. The accounting filed in 2020 is continued till Wednesday, July 27th at 1:30. It'll be very interesting to see what happens on July 27th. It will probably get sent out to a courtroom and start the next day, unless there's other motions. Motion to quash deposition subpoenas or in the alternative for protective order filed by TriStar Sports and Entertainment Group. This was going off calendar. They called the matter for hearing. The court finds that a joint stipulation and order to take the motion off calendar has been received by this court. The court signed it. Pursuant to the stipulation entered by the parties, the court places the motion to quash or in the alternative for protective order on November 5th off calendar. And then Rosengart noticed that he's going to be asking for that to come back again. Guess who's back? Back again. Your motion to quash. We'd like you to answer some questions. I wonder if they're going to ask TriStar what their relationship is with James Spears. All right, y'all. It has been like 2 hours and we are finally getting to questions. I have questions. You have questions. If you want more background on all of the Britney documents, they're on the Britney Spears playlist. I don't think I've said it even once this video. Go ahead and do the likey, subscribey things. We are rocketing towards 200K and galaxy colored hair. So I am very excited for galaxy colored hair. I am very excited to hit 200K. I am very excited to have you like and subscribe so that you can see if you were unsubscribed helpfully by YouTube, and B, you can get notified maybe when my content goes live so you can hit the bell. That said, I'm also all over the interwebs at the Emily D. Baker and have a top 3 entertainment news podcast, The Emily Show. You can find that on your favorite podcasting app because I am beholden to no one. It is on all of the apps. Though if Spotify was like, would you like $100 million? I might just say yes. I might just say yes. I might. Okay, let's get to questions. I have questions. You have questions. We have questions. And then we have a COPO. So let's do questions first. I know that there were some super chats I missed. If I missed any of them in the retelling, I apologize. I will do my best to pull them all up. Let me see. I hope the RICO investigation takes all these people to jail. It very well might. It very well could. RICO is essentially a racketeering criminal enterprise. Could the conservatorship be a criminal enterprise based on everything that we've seen now? I mean, I think it could. Would it be helpful if I did an analysis of it would be speculation, but how would you prove a criminal enterprise based on the information that we have now? I could speculate like that. I totally could. Let me get back into those. Katrina said, I was unsubbed, but fixed it. I mean, sometimes YouTube does that. I don't know how. It happens to me too. It happens to me on a number of channels. And I'm like, hey, I haven't seen so-and-so for a while. And I go look at their channel. I'm like, I was subscribed. Like, what? It doesn't seem to happen to me on any other platform that I notice. It's just so weird. Question, was Britney's ex-husband, Kevin Federline is absolutely his name, was K-Fed involved in any of this conservatorship nonsense? He has been mentioned in court papers in relation to their family law case that involves custody and the kids, and it has come up with relation to Britney's dad and the civil restraining order between him and the kids, but it has not come up in other ways. He has not been, part of the group running the conservatorship at all. He's only been mentioned as it relates to taking care of the kids. So that. Let's see. Oh, I had a question that I was going to pull up and it just jumped. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to find it because I was like, wait, I was halfway through reading it and I was like, I want to answer that. But where did it go? No, no. Sorry. Um, Question, where does the filing with the information that Lou and Jamie were having an affair is? Anna, I think you're asking where that filing is. It's not a filing. It doesn't say they're having an affair. It is a request for interrogatory, which is a question they want answered. And it said, deny that you had a romantic relationship. So it deeply alluded to the fact that there was a relationship, but it did not state that as a matter of fact. It asked the question and then, like, hurled that out there to fester in the atmosphere, but it's a question in the interrogatories that were filed and the objections in the 267 pages that I covered on, was it yesterday? Not Thursday, Wednesday, that I covered on Wednesdays, live stream. So that. Kudos to lawyers in general. I could not deal with this level of emotionally stressful stuff every day. You get a little bit numb to it, which is kind of weird and not super healthy. And therapy. But yeah, it is when it's on behalf of your client, though, it doesn't feel personal. It's different, but you definitely get invested in your work. Question, can a complaint to the bar, a civil or criminal case be launched against Viv et al. For not doing their duty to their client, Britney? I'm sure Rosengart will look into what's appropriate depending on what they have and what they know. California is one of the very, very few jurisdictions that has a no snitch rule where lawyers are not required to report other lawyers' misbehavior to the bar. California's perspective on that is another lawyer fucking up might help your client. That's a real like base level summary of that reasoning. Most other states have a snitch rule where it's like, if you notice a lawyer doing something that's harming their client, it doesn't matter if taking advantage of what that lawyer is doing might benefit your client. You have a duty to report them to the bar. California doesn't see it that way. California also has Tom Girardi. So, I mean, so could there be, can lawyers be looped in if they're part of a criminal enterprise? Yes. But that's going to depend on what is known and what was done, and it can be difficult. So it just depends. Um, it just depends. I don't know if we will see that here or not. Question, it was reported that Ingham inferred that if he didn't get paid, he'd release all Britney's records as attorney-client privileges will no longer apply. Can he do that? I haven't seen that. Attorney-client privilege does still apply to the client even after you stop representing the client, so that's not accurate, and all of those documents should be released to Rosengart. I wonder if he was saying, well, I would have to see where it was reported. I worry that Rosengart doesn't have the entire case file, and Ingham's like, well, I don't have the finances to pull the entire case file together for you, so I need to get paid before I can release to Rosengart the entire case file. But I have not seen that. Question, if the Laundrie family isn't criminally charged, can the Petito family file a civil suit against them? I would need to think on, in a broad sense, yes. What they would file a civil suit for, I don't know. And it just depends on what information they had. Like, would that be intentional infliction of emotional distress? Because I don't think they can file the wrongful death. I don't think there's any evidence. It's not like an O.J. Simpson case where you have a criminal proceeding and a civil proceeding for the wrongful death. They can't go after his family for his actions. He's an adult. So I don't know if there's like an intentional infliction of emotional distress there. I think a lot of people would say their behavior was outrageous. It's just, it depends on what happened and what they know as to whether they'll do that. They might not want to, though. There might be nothing to gain there because financial gain isn't going to make anything better. I think in other cases, like in the OJ case, there needed to be closure on that wrongful death, and there's reason to go after that wrongful death, especially after an acquittal. But with regard to this case, I don't know. So could Question, can Britney sue Lou Taylor for all the fees she collected? Well, they're still trying to claw it back within the conservatorship. Would Britney choose to sue her outside of the conservatorship? It's too early to tell. So I don't know. Um, Question, does Britney and Rosengard have access to all the sealed court documents during the conservatorship? They should. They should. Whether they've gotten all of those turned over to them, I don't know, but in theory, they do. Hopefully he has the whole file. He needed to get the whole file from Ingham, but he can also get the whole file from the court too. It's a lot of documents. Um, so, um, Jennifer said, "What do you make of the $20,000 Brian Laundrie had in his account?" I don't know anything about that. So I would have to look into it more, and I would want to know how much money was taken out of Gabby Petito's account. Question, if criminal misconduct is found in the Spears case, what recourse does Brittany have? Um, well, she can be the victim in the criminal case and testify at trial, and she can use the resources that she has for her lawyer to assist in trying to claw things back in the conservatorship, and they can go forward on a criminal case. And if there is a criminal case, it can unwind things that were done in the conservatorship. So, question, she could get some money back from Lou Taylor and her company. All of this is being reviewed by Rosengarten team. It could be more than they took, and can fall under penalty. They're going to try to claw things back for sure. Um, Thank you, Cameron, who said just subbed and happy to be here. Happy to have you here. So let's see. Question, can Ingham be reprimanded in some way for the blatant threat he issued in court? I didn't. Let me go back to Brittany Law Army and see, what did Ingham say? What Niche, tell me what Ingham said, because I don't know what I read from the Brittany Law Army that read like a threat from Ingham. Ingham was saying, "I want to be paid," but let me know if there's more. Can we put pressure on the LA or Ventura DA to investigate and bring charges? Generally, the DA's off. Well, the feds, I think, would be more appropriate, especially if it's going to be a RICO case. I think the fact that Rosengart has hired a firm and is working directly with a former FBI agent, and the fact that he is a former federal prosecutor, gives me hope that they will go the Fed route and look to get the feds in the FBI involved and the U.S. Attorney's Office involved. The U.S. Attorney's Office tends to have more of a hand in investigative things than most district attorneys' offices do in general. There are quirks to that based on units and assignments and things, but most district attorneys get it after the investigation has been completed or substantially completed. But the feds normally work with a little bit more with the U.S. attorneys work a little bit more with the feds in the investigative stages. But I think it's probably a federal case. That's my suspicion. My suspicion that it's more of a federal case than a state case. And I don't know if the LADA's office is going to be. I don't know what they're doing with their white collar crime right now. So let us. We're going to keep going. Question, can the IRS come after Yeeted Spears? If he did shady shit, they sure can. That's an if. But the thing is, as more and more and more is uncovered, the IRS always finds a way to be like, hey, what's going on over there? It looks like a lot of money and weird shit might have happened. We'd like to know. We're just in a brief story time. When I was in law school, I worked at the U.S. Attorney's Office briefly for a summer. I knew I wanted to go into criminal law, and I worked in their tax crimes division because I'm a fucking nerd and I really enjoy white collar and fraud level crimes. But I really wanted to do a lot of trials, which is why I went to the DA's office and not the U.S. Attorney's Office, because I wanted to do a lot of trials early. And it was always kind of my thought that maybe I would move from the DA's office, perhaps to the U.S. Attorney's Office to do more of the white collar crimes, even though they don't go to trial as much. But I really wanted to be a DA and do those trials. So most of the IRS investigations that we saw came from tips. So I wouldn't be surprised if the IRS is already well aware of where to look or what to look at. So Question: do we know if Brian Laundrie's parents knew the confession was in the notebook when they were trying to get it out of evidence? I think they're trying to have all the evidence and property returned to them. And so I didn't take it as them trying to hide anything or trying to get anything. They knew that it was being dried out and looked at for the investigation. There's no way they would have gotten it. There's no way they would have gotten to it before they were done with it for evidentiary purposes. So I don't know what they knew was in there. I'm sure law enforcement told them what was in there before it came out publicly. So you guys are like, speculate away. Okay, we might talk about a RICO case. That might take me a little bit. Question: did it big do please do a bing again. I seem to have missed it. I don't think I didn't do a bing for 195. Maybe we'll do it before we do COPO. So, let's see. Question: is legal malpractice a thing? Yes. Could Ingham face it? Unknown. It depends. I'm sure Rosengart is looking at all things. He seemed to accept everything Yeated Spears said, i.e. the property taxes, with no pushback. Seems to. Whether it rises to the level of malpractice or not, I cannot say without more information. But yes, it's a thing. Yes, it's possible. It's very fact specific. I think Britney has taken a burn this motherfucking place to the ground approach. And she's like, go forth, Rosengart, go forth. She said it in court. They should all be in jail. So I get the sense that Britney probably still feels that way. And if Britney probably still feels that way, then the marching orders are they should all be in jail. So she has the money to leave no stone unturned, and she seems fucking pissed. Who could blame her? Who could blame her? She didn't get to raise her kids. She got forced to work without a say in how her career was going. She got isolated from everyone around her. They were bugging her bedroom. They took away the people that she worked with that she was close to. Oh, she's fucking mad. And now she has the money to be like, hey, everybody, fuck you. I'm done. And I think that's what's going to happen in court. Amy Yost, I will look at Patreon for sure, probably tomorrow. Could I do an update on the Murdoch cases? Yes, I will do an update on the Murdoch cases. I just have not been able to keep up with everything else. But Murdaugh's not off of my mind. Can you update us? Yes, Tuesday is what I'm talking about, mistrials. I'll probably talk about it in the podcast next week too. I think I need to, well, we'll see what the government responds. I don't see how based on the information we have, and I've talked about it on the channel, I don't see how based on the info we have, we get away without this being a mistrial. I'm not optimistic at all. Question: what are your thoughts on Sam Lefty now that all of this has aired out? I don't know. I don't know yet. That's where I'm at. There's a lot there. He has said a lot of this for a long time. So he said a lot of this for a long time. And the conservatorship tried to shut him down. Do I know if he was a good influence or not? I don't know. Do I know that he said and called out a lot of this? Yep. So I don't know. I hope that in whatever way he can help share what he has seen and what he's known, and it helps Britney, that he's able to do that. That would be cool. So, will Britt have to testify? No. The 12th accounting is just going to be going through the lawyers' fees and all of that stuff. So it'll be mostly the lawyers and potentially James Spears, potentially Lou Taylor. Well, it would have to be Lou Taylor and it would have to be James Spears because he approved the fees. So it would be all of them. It wouldn't be Britney. She wasn't making Britney wasn't making all of the decisions because she was in a conservatorship. So there would be nothing for her to testify to at this point. So is Jamie Lynn's lawyer the same as James Spears? No, but the lawyer that Jamie Lynn used to respond to the cease and desist is a lawyer that assisted with some of the stuff against Sam Lufty. So it seems to be a lawyer that is known to team conservatorship. Question. Do interested parties like family members of Brits get notified now about court if they don't have a fee petition if she isn't a conservative? Yeah, they're still on the notice list. So, yes, unless they've come off the notice list for a reason, they're still on the notice list. Jamie Lynn's follow up, the book I shouldn't have written. That's funny. Oh, I meant to do super chats. Brett, thank you for reminding me that I meant to go do some super chats and then got like ran away answering questions. Thank you guys for the support and the super chats. It's so funny what YouTube does with certain videos. It's just funny. So I do appreciate the support with that. So will we get a Tati update soon? Soon. I can't say when. But yes, soon. It's like it's on the top of my list, and then it's like bump and bump and bump. I might just have to set aside a stream and be like, this is the Tati stream, but I have some adult life things that I have to do coming up here and that require some travel. So things are just keep getting bumped. I'm sorry. But it will, yes, soon. It's constantly, it's like literally ever present on my list of like, we have to get back to this. 68 Spec said, my wife always asks me, are you watching Law Tubes again when she hears y'all talking? Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, 68 Spec and your wife. We love the Law Tubes. Lynn2574 said, did you watch? I answered that one about Dr. Grande's. Let's see. I'm going to try to catch back up. Let's see. Johnny Depp, Amber Heard. We answered that. Prequels. You guys are like, we love the prequels. You guys, I'm gonna tell T how much y'all love the prequels. S, I meant to get back to G-Max trial predictions. I'm not optimistic. I don't see a way around a mistrial. I just don't. I don't. The only way I see around a mistrial is if something happens to her and she is not able to stand trial again. I don't see a way around it. Brett said, I might have missed my super chat shout out, but thanks for helping get this nurse through this 16-hour shift tonight. Brett, you are so welcome. I don't think I missed an earlier one. If I got all the earlier ones, so if there was one earlier, I got them right at the top of the stream. So I hope I didn't miss it. Jam said Louis Armstrong died too. What is with this? What is with like the end of December, beginning of January? Jordan said, enjoyed your live with Natalie earlier this week. You two are the best on LawTube. Well, thank you. The men don't stand a chance. Well, I appreciate that. I just have so much fun chatting with others. Oh, and Jam said, Louis Anderson, not Armstrong. Well, thank you for clarification. The chat all probably went, wait, no, and ran to Twitter and was like, that's not right. So I'm glad I saw these next super chat. So we're all clear, chat. Don't worry. KitKat78 said, I just want to say how nice it is to find a channel that encourages open, honest, and respectful conversations without the drama and sensationalism. Yeah, I hate that shit. I really do. I hate it all. I hate it when the news clickbaits tragedy. I hate it. I do. I hate it. And I think I generally am not, I mean, I'm maybe not as cynical as I should be, but I generally think that people are smart enough to determine what they want to watch and what stories they want to follow. And they like, watch this. We're all fucking exhausted. Tell me what you're going to tell me, please. And then tell me, and don't be boring. I hate the sensationalism. I just hate it. KH said, Law Nerd loves and appreciates Emily. Thank you so much. S said, have you read the Wall Street Journal on Fed judges' hidden money interests? I have not. They shouldn't have money interests. But I will go look for it. Summer Eve said, Emily, I work in community corrections. If you don't want to share cases that are hard for you, you don't have to. I get it. Keep your spirit safe. Summer Eve, thank you. I always make sure that when I share, I am ready to, but I also share why things might seem one way or another because I just want to be transparent. But thank you. I appreciate that. And there are some cases I just choose not to cover, but I tend to say that too. And that's when I say, hey, I need to look into the facts of that case more before I decide if I'm going to cover it. Because there are some things that are just a little too difficult still. So, and it's just like there's some stories that I don't share from my time working at the DA's office, except sometimes with other DAs when we need to chat about things that are awful. But there are some stories I just won't ever share broader because, secondary trauma is real and I'd like to not traumatize my audience. I don't want to trauma dump on my audience. I want to share my experiences to help everyone learn and understand the law, not for everyone to feel like they've seen the darkest side of humanity. So I don't want to do that to everyone. Everyone shouldn't have to walk around being like, I know awful things. Um, Love You Most 326 said when Brian's autopsy report came out, Bertolino told the media the firearm was missing from the home. I wonder when they told law enforcement that. That's my question. Um, Avaloma said, can you conceive of a situation that could be brought to force the Laundries to allocute? No way Gabby's family would ever know the details otherwise. And that means give a sworn statement, not unless they sued civilly and force them to deposition. Amy Yost said, I know Florida gun laws. You can't buy one and leave the store with it right away. You have to pass a 72-hour background check first. B's parents reported the gun missing when they reported Brian missing. Okay, good to know. It's just a detail that I was not either wasn't aware of or do not remember at the moment. It could be in my notes, but there was so much to do. I didn't review them thoroughly. Enchanted Wings said, whenever you visit Edinburgh, Scotland, I need to show you the place that does Bueno waffles and especially law bookshop, Emily. Yes, I'm here for it. We are supposed to be on that side of the world in November. Everything needs to just fall in line so we could do that. Don Shute said, you need to come to Pittsburgh and try Burgatory. Burgatory sounds amazing. I am Palm said, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Chandler Halderson trial. Open and shut defense barely crossed. Everyone has the right to a trial, and sometimes that happens. I have not been following it very closely. Crystal Mueller said, I know I have asked his before, but with all the financial malfeasance and spying by Yeeted Spears, could the lawyers face sanctions for not reporting bad behavior if they were aware? It's hard to say without knowing more, but this could come up in numerous ways. It's possible. I'm not going to go one way or the other, but it's possible. Megan Tangman said, watching WWE, there was a sign, did Jen Shaw know? Why? I love that, but why? Jennifer H said, Wingegarten, Argart sounds like Rosengart sounds like Obama in my head. I kind of love that. Wingegarten works too for the across the pond. Brett said the Viv voice is my favorite. I hope I'm caught up on super chats. I'm going to get to a few more and then we're going to go. I love getting to questions. Oh, we have to do COPO. I almost forgot. Sorry. Question, are you following the other Maxwell case of the lawyer that took funds from clients like Tom Girardi? I wonder how often that happens. It shouldn't happen ever, but I wonder too. I wonder too. So, G Dash said, legally, do the laundries have to tell the police anything or just not lie? Just not lie. Do the laundries get back their son's notebook with confession suicide note? When evidence is closed, there's no reason they should not get it back. So yes, they should get it back when all the cases are completely closed and done. Then yes, they should get that back. But yes, they're not obligated to say shit. They are obligated to not lie. They can say, I'm not answering you. So let's see. Question, did you see Erica Jane is supposed to be on Big Brother TV on CBS? I know there's a celebrity Big Brother coming up. I also know that Zach Peter has said that she will be filming Housewives during the same time Big Brother is filming. So he thinks it might be Teddy Mellencamp that ends up on the show. So I've seen the speculation. Jetpack Dino said, thank you for answering my question. You're very awesome. Well, thank you for the super chat. I try to get to as many as I can. Question, can the Petito family sue Brian's estate since now the police say there's a confession? They could put the money back into the fund started, into the Gabby Petito Foundation. I mean, I would need to look if you can civilly sue an estate for wrongful death. I don't know off the top of my head. It would take me looking to see if that is, it would take me looking. But if there's a signed confession, I mean, Possibly. Possibly. It's a good question, though. That's a question that I'm like, "Ooh, we're gonna ponder on that and take a look," 'cause I and ask others too and be like, "What do you think of this?" 'Cause I don't know. Will Britney need to sue TriStar to get her own financials? God, I fucking hope not. But if she does, she should get all of her lawyers' fees back. I guess the court has no authority to compel them. The court should have authority to compel them. Um, that's why they're doing the new subpoena. That she was their client. So yes, she could sue them. That would be so fucking stupid if she has to sue them. It would be so dumb. They were her client. Their argument though is, but But we, um but we gave all the accountings, but the accountings are complete. Give them the files. Aren't they all digital? What do you need to redact? Nothing. She's your client. How hard is it to just turn over files? But they said organized files. Hello, Mr. Anderson. Did the Federline stuff happen before or after the conservatorship started? Could there be a case that the conservatorship led directly to her losing her kids? It started before, it happened during, but yes, I think the conservatorship was an active part in her losing her kids. Yes, I do. Because how can you have parental rights if you are unable to take care of yourself? What? Hello, Fred. Question: do they have a right to Yeated's attorney-client stuff? Yes, because his not now, during the conservatorship, the attorneys for the conservator are the attorneys for the conservator, not for Yeated Spears. So all of that goes to the new conservator, Zabel, which is why it was so important to yeet Spears and bring Zabel in so that all those documents can go to Zabel so then they can go to Rosengart. Smart way to attack it. Do you think they'll eventually get it? Yes, I think they've probably gotten some of it. And I think that's why we're seeing some of the things backed up in the declaration from the FBI agent that I went over on Wednesday. I think we're seeing that backed up in emails because they already have that. Okay. Um, can Brittany sue the state of California for not following their own laws about notice declarations and make the state pay for everything? The state didn't fail to follow it, the judge did. So I don't think she can sue the state. And I don't think she can sue the judge because judicial immunity is pretty total. And that I know that doesn't feel good. Um, seeing how Britney Spears' legal documents were leaked to the New York Times, who would have possible access to this? The court, the lawyers, though occasionally, and this is this is speculative. I have seen things get to outlets like TMZ that I thought have come from court staff. It is not always common, but it can happen. But the court said at the hearing, that before the court call got shut down, the June 23rd hearing, that the court had investigated on their end and the leak did not, they believed that the document didn't come from them. So it then would have come from one of the lawyers. The thing is, it could have come from somebody in one of the law firms. It could have come from a paralegal in the law firm. Like there's a lot of layers there of where it could have come from. So, um, let's keep going. I wanna make sure the stream's okay because things just went wonky on my end here. So hopefully it is. We're just gonna keep pretending like it is. Question: if Brian Laundrie had life insurance that pays out on suicide, could the Petito family sue to become beneficiaries? I don't know under what theory, but maybe a wrongful death, and that falls into the maybe a wrongful death. So, Melcher commented on Ingham's threat not to honor attorney-client privilege. I will go look. I don't know why Ingham would fucking say that. And I'm sure if Rose, well, first of all, we'll get the transcript and we'll see at some point. I don't disbelieve Melcher at any account. He was probably in court, but he, that like what? Like that's just, I think it further supports the notion that perhaps Ingham was just playing along with James Spears, and I don't think that's going to at the end go well for Ingham because it's just going to piss off Rosengart, who's looking at potentially saying that they were all conspiring to just milk Brittany of her money and force her to work. It's awful, and if he was a part of it, he was a part of it. Brittany needs to go on a clawback tour. love that. She should. She should go to the disengorgement. We're disengorging you of the money that you made from me. How will statute of limitations play into Britney's case, state versus federal? That's a very much longer question. With a lot of frauds, the statute of limitations starts when the fraud was discovered. So if these things are all falling under fraud, which I think they do, the wiretapping different, but also from time of discovery, then the clock will start ticking now we're near to now because it's just been discovered. So let's see. I'm going to sweep these real quick and then we're going to get to COPO and then I've got to. I heard that too, boy. I don't know, when your cat's like, what is that noise? It's like, oh, there's something on my roof. Cool. It's probably very large birds. Great. Probably means there's something dead out in the field that they are looking for. Sorry, you can see him. He's like, what is that noise? Hey girl, can we contact government officials? Be sure the Fed and state get serious with Yeatid's accountability and prosecution. I feel helpless. I need to help. Well, I think they are aware with all the media coverage. I think Rosengart, being a former prosecutor, is probably in the best position to do that. And I think that supporting the legislation, and I have to go look at the numbers, but there is legislation in the state of California, but I have not reviewed the legislation to see if I think that it's helpful. Not all legislation is good. So that's where we're at. But I think keeping an eye on what's going on in court and not letting the media forget that we are interested in this too, so that the mainstream media is also covering it, helps. I am so far behind on chat. I'm sorry. Sam Lefty has texts about Britney, but lawyers for Britney have texts from Britney. Sam Lefty has texts about Britney, but lawyers for Britney have texts from Britney. Okay. I would have to go look. Doesn't Britney have her own case file? I don't know if her entire case file has been turned over to Rosengart. Thank you. Rachie said, I love Emily's coverage of everything better than watching the news. Thank you. Unfortunately, I do not have an entire newsroom at my disposal yet, so I can't make everything the way I want it and cover everything because it's me. But that's not going to be forever. We will bring more. Question, what's the best platform to send more detailed question about law and policy to you? The email, my public-facing email, I will get it. I will see it. It might take me some time to get back to, but that's the best place. So, let's see. I am going to go to COPO. You guys, thank you for the super chats. Loved the Natalie collab. Me too. It was so much fun. I love chatting with that. For cruising, chaos, and cooking with Jamie Spears. I was so blown away by that. I had no idea at all. Did Brian even have anything of value? I don't know what Brian Spears does for a job. Not sure if you read my message, Ashley. I hope I did. I got to all of the super chats earlier, so if I missed it, just add your question to Tech Valor so she can let me know. So hopefully I got to it as I've been swooping through. I think it was the one about the Sam Lefty text, but it might be down below. Let's see. Did you see that Sam Lefty tweet about text messages about Britney and then lawyers for Britney tweet the text message? I didn't see any of that go down. I will go look for it and I will give my thoughts tomorrow. But no, I did not. It has been a busy day of reading documents and I did a little shopping. I had things I had to do. Okay, you guys, we have to. Oh my God, it's been 2 hours and 30 minutes. We have to bing. We have to COPO. So we're gonna bing because oh, it binged. Move your head. Ah! I need to add a purple hair photo to the end of that. Tech, don't let me forget. We need to add a purple hair photo to the end of it binged. The way I love a hat. The way I love my fax hat with my hair down the most. I love it the most. You guys, I've missed it. It's time. It's back. It's going to be up in the chat. So don't forget to vote. We have to go there. It's been too long. I've missed it, but the cases have been so heavy and it's been so much that we have not had a good chance to bring it back. So we're bringing it back for 2022. If you are new here, put a 1 in the chat because this will be your first court of public opinion. Fred is making all kinds of noise back there. Court of public opinion in honor of Meatloaf. I'm sad that Meatloaf passed. Like, I am surprised. I am sad. My emotional support, Fred, is here to bang on my microphone and cause problems. Hi. You know that you're going to. So, our court of public opinion comes from my question box on Instagram. I put up, what is your favorite Meatloaf song? And then I went through the answers and picked the 4 that came up the most so we can court of public opinion the Law Nerds' favorite Meatloaf song. It doesn't mean the best, it means the court of public opinion, the favorite. The court of public opinion is a way that we get to debate shit that doesn't really, at the end of the night, matter, but we get to have fun talking about it. So the 4 options are, and they will be up, so we can vote on the community tab and we can vote on Twitter. They will be up. So from the Law Nerds on Instagram, these are the top 4 songs, and I don't disagree. I don't disagree. So I would do anything for love. Naturally. Paradise by the Dashboard Light, Bad Out of Hell, and 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So those are our 4 options. And it is hard to choose. But vote in the poll. We'll see what the poll does here, and then we'll see what the poll does on Instagram. So and then we'll put it on Instagram, we'll put it on Twitter, we'll put it in the community tab. And then on Tuesday, we will rule on the most popular Meatloaf song according to the Law Nerds, because it's a hard choice, but I feel like it's a way to honor the music and be like, look, what do we like? Paradise is, I don't know. Paradise makes me want to be a musical theater kid. It makes me want to go back and ditch the swimsuit and be a musical theater kid. It makes me want to do that. But also, like, I don't know. I would do anything for love is iconic. So it's just iconic. I would do anything. And then we can have a whole discussion about, but I won't do that and what that is. What is that? What is that? Like, what is that? Okay, I'm sorry. Hot Patootie would have been the 5th. It would have been the 5th. It was the next most, but it got edged out. It got edged out by 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but it would have been the 5th. It's the honorable mention. Yes, he did have a song in Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yes, it would have been the 5th. So yes. Well, if you've never listened to a Meatloaf song before, now is the time to start with Paradise by the Dashboard Light. I would do anything for love. Bad Out of Hell and 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And Hot Patootie. So I know you guys are like, where's Hot Patootie? I'm sorry. B is like, that is screwing around. I mean, but is it more metaphorical than that? She says what that is. She says he'll be running around. And yes, it is fair. It is in the lyrics. But I've always wanted that to be like more, have deeper meaning. So you guys are like such a tough COPO. I know it's a tough COPO, but yes, 4 is the max options I can do for a poll on Twitter. And that is why we have 4. That is why we've had to make things into brackets, but brackets, my ADHD brain sometimes in brackets are tough because I forget things and then I forget to put the bracket up and then I get all like embarrassed and I'm like, fuck, we've killed the bracket. It is hard to manage sometimes. Joy Daly said Bad Out of Hell is the best Meatloaf song, hand down. Well, you can vote. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Always gives me goosebumps. This is a song for when you're going through it. I mean, fair. Did you ever go to a midnight showing of Rocky? I did. Because I grew up in the 90s. And threw tortillas. Because of course. Yes, I love I don't know. Growing up in the 90s was so different than growing up watching my kids grow up now. It was a different time. It really was. And I love it. Objects in the rearview mirror did not get as many votes on Instagram as I thought it would. I am sorry. Used to get all gothed out for Rocky Horror, and lots did. and lots did. Again, Rocky Horror was so much fun. Um, Emily, you need a bracket manager. Agreed. And next time I will ask. Next time I will ask for a bracket manager. I Would Do Anything for Love is one of the music videos I still remember vividly watching numerous times on MTV back in the day. I remember watching music videos premiere on MTV, like waiting for them to drop. Like, speaking of music, by the way, did you guys see? I had a friend who was going to be traveling to Vegas for Adele. And did you guys see Adele's video on Instagram canceling her Vegas residency? It, like, broke my heart for her. It really did. I've not seen someone explain why they had to do something with so much just honest and true emotion. It made me sad, but it was also nice to see such a genuine love for her audience and for her craft, and it made me so sad. It made me so sad. So, I also miss pop-up video. Pop-up video is one of my favorite things ever. I loved the fast facts of it all. I loved pop-up video. Pop-up video. I loved it. You guys are talking about Adele. I cried during Adele's video. Like, I watched Adele's video and I was like, I felt how gutted she was over having to cancel her residency. Just like in my soul. And I was like, I don't think I've watched anyone say I can't do this without making excuses, and just explaining the situation with genuine, real care and emotion. It was kind of refreshing to see. It made me sad for her, but it was refreshing to see. All right, you guys, you have like literally 30 seconds to vote. Get your votes in. If you have not voted in that poll, we are closing the poll. So yes, we can close the poll because I'm going to have to say, I have to go. I have to go. OMG at Santa said, I remember when I Want It That Way and The Call premiered on TRL. I'm old. I'm old too. And The Call is one of my favorite Backstreet Boys songs. I love that song. Listen, baby, I'm sorry. Just want to tell you, don't worry. I will be late. Don't stay up and wait for me. You say it again. You're dropping out. My battery is low. So, going to a place nearby. I gotta go. Ah, I love The Call. That didn't need to happen. Everybody's like, what happened to Adele? I hope she's okay. Okay. Adele's okay. She had to cancel her residency in Vegas because the show wasn't finished due to the vid-19. It's on her Instagram. If you want to go see it. It's just gutted. The Call totally didn't get enough love. It didn't get enough love. Carol's dark sarcasm says, add it to the playlist. The Call's definitely going on the playlist. The Call's going on the playlist. Once we put together the Law Nerds Spotify playlist, The Call is on it. Remember on pop-up video how every time they said butt, it would be over a picture of a butt? I loved pop-up video. Why doesn't pop-up video have like a YouTube channel? Can somebody reinstate pop-up video on a YouTube channel? I think it would slap. We love the nostalgia of it all. I think it would be so much fun. Jacqueline said, anytime my cat hears a strange noise and acts like that, I grab the sage and shoo all the ghosts. I get it. No, that I actually heard the claw marks on the stairs. There are some very large birds in Tennessee. I think some of them have to be prehistoric, hyperbole, but kind of not. And they're massive. So my office has a bit of a vaulted ceiling, and you can hear them. So, postponed her residency. She will be back. That is fair. Canceled for now though, because all those shows are not happening this week. All right, COPO results. The Law Nerds had said I Would Do Anything for Love 55%, Paradise at 18%. Knife to the heart. No, I'm kidding. Opinions are opinions. I will fight you guys for Paradise to be number 1. Bad Out of Hell 13%, 2 out of 3 ain't bad 11%. I mean, I Would Do Anything for Love's iconic. I can't be mad at that. The turkey vultures are so big. Oh, hopefully it's not mice. Oh, it's not mice. The birds are so big. They are so big. Literally, they look like prehistoric raptors when they, like, in the summertime, I'm working in my office and I can see all of the grass out in our front, and I can see just the shadow go across from how big those birds are. So when I hear them on the roof, they are massive. They are massive. I had never seen birds like that. But they are nature's cleanup crew and they keep the sides of the roads clean from roadkill. So I'm not mad about it. It's just, you know. I live in Las Vegas and have a friend in the Adele show. He said rehearsals were a disaster. I mean, it sounds like they just weren't ready at all, and it makes me sad. You have pterodactyls? Yes. Tennessee does have pterodactyls. They call them turkey vultures, but basically they're pterodactyls. Is it like Land of the Lost? It feels that way. Look, they are so big. They are so big. They are so big. So Alisomniac said, my first turkey vulture sighting, I'm pretty sure it was a dino. They do have prehistoric vibes to them. They have probably been around that long. They will take small dogs. The threat is real. They are massive. And they're, I don't know. Again, Tennessee's kind of rad. So I love it. Didn't have California condors. I am not 100% sure that California condors aren't extinct, but in the greater Los Angeles area, we had some very large, pigeons and seagulls. Where we lived, I would occasionally see some small-ish hawks. I think the hawks here would eat those hawks because some of the hawks here are massive. But nothing like the turkey vultures. And since moving to Tennessee, I've actually seen turkeys fly, like real gobble gobble turkeys fly. I was driving my oldest to school and turkeys went flying across the freeway badly, I might add. They don't do that well. They look so fucking weird when they fly. It's like, I wonder how they do it all. But actual turkeys, just like so wild. It's so wild. So anyway, I did not see Glennon Doyle's response to Janie said Glennon Doyle's response to Adele was absolutely wonderful. I have not seen it, and I'm sure it was full of grace. Adele's, it was heart. I thought it was heartfelt. It was heartfelt. It didn't place blame, I don't think, and it just said what the facts are, and the facts are it's not ready, and I'm gutted about it. So it just made me sad. All right. I'm sure the mods are exhausted, and they're like, Emily, you've been wrapping up for half an hour. I'm sorry. I love being with you, Law Nerds. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to take care of yourselves, take care of each other, stay hydrated. May the odds be ever in your favor. And you're distracting me in the chat and I can't say goodbye. The what now, twin mom? The what now? I was at Vuitton today. They have very sparkly sneakers that were delightfully tempting. I have never owned designer shoes. Ugg boots, I guess. Ugg boots count as designer shoes? I feel like they do. Ugg boots and Adidas are my levels of designer shoes, but I have not seen the Air Force Ones X Vuitton. I will Google them and I will say goodnight. Y'all, thank you for being here. I will see you Tuesday for Coffee and Cursey Words. If you are a member, it is not too late to join. If you would like to be on tomorrow's Zoom call at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, go ahead and join at lawnerdsunite.com. And I will see you then. For everybody else, I will see you around the socials this weekend. My son and I are going to shoot archery tomorrow afternoon. I'm very excited. And I will talk to you soon. Okay. It's time to go. I need to say goodbye. All right. Bye. Connect with me everywhere. I'm at the Emily D. Baker. If you guys want to join the text, just text Emily.com. If you want to join the channel, lawnerdsunite.com. Happy to have you. Support what we do here on the YouTube.